Hey guys, welcome to Birds of a Feather here on A2D Radio, live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, bmwofatlanticcity.com. We are sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours. And we are going to go right into it, guys. We have our poll question of the week. It is Super Bowl week, guys. We are pumped. Brought to us by Scanzano Sports. We tried to keep it simple because we want to know, guys. We want to know where your gut feeling is at this week. What will be the outcome of the Super Bowl? Super Bowl 52. Simply, Eagles win a close game. They win by a blowout. Do the Patriots win by a close game? Or do the Patriots win by a blowout? We want to keep it simple. We want you guys to chime in. Talk to us here on Facebook. Talk to us on YouTube. We're on Periscope today, guys. It's going to be a great show. Everything's been fantastic on this station over the last week and a half, guys, and it's only getting better. I'm Chrome. I'm here with Chux, as usual. We got Paul Hudrick here, contributor to NBC Sports Philadelphia. He's joining us yet again for this big week. And we got Ryan Brodo, the man, the Ryan Brodo.
Nice to have you
over
back,
on the
buddy.
Ones and Twos,
Hello.
buddy. Welcome back, pal.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
We miss you. And, hey, fantastic job last night, you guys, with Soundhounds. That was great. Or Sports Hounds.
Soundhounds.
I just had the app Soundhound.
Either
open.
way,
Is that
thank
a
you.
new show?
Thank you. I
Sports
appreciate
Hounds.
it.
Oh, they had a great show last night, and I tell you what, some of the points that you guys were talking about were fantastic.
Well, thank you,
I'm
man. I
probably going to
appreciate it.
reference a little bit of it this week.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Sweet.
They're good guys. They're good guys.
But, guys, it's here. It's finally here. The Eagles have reported to Minnesota. The media week and all that stuff's been underway. Preparations are underway. And the Minnesota fans are still butthurt from last week.
Oh, God.
So butthurt.
Salty.
Very evident.
So
Salty.
butthurt.
Guys, how are we feeling?
I feel like every single day that goes by, I feel better and better. But I'm still nervous because it's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game this city has had in years. I could even argue that this is bigger than the last time you were there, because I think you touched on it last time in 2005 when we went. It was like more of a relief that
a long time coming.
a long time coming. We finally got over the hump of the NFC Championship game, and we're here. Now what? And it's kind of, and we're facing honestly a really good. They were facing a really good Patriots team, but now this year it's like there's so much joy because no one expected it. This is like a storybook season. This is it's been incredible. All the storylines and the ups and downs, the emotional roller coasters, everything has been so amazing, and this team is just so special. And you just feel there's just this overwhelming feeling that they're gonna get the job done. And it's just a matter of it happening. But we will see. There's no guarantee, obviously, that they are going to win, no matter what. The storylines don't dictate victories. But the overwhelming feeling in this city, the pulse right now going on in this city.
Guys. He can't even
I
talk
can't
right
even
now.
talk. Like the overwhelming feeling and pulse that I've been getting. And I have right now is that.
So you're
we're gonna
feeling
do
good.
it.
You're
I'm
feeling
so good.
Paulie,
Like,
where
oh
are
my
you at,
God.
buddy? We had to get there. I know the excitement. I,
love it.
feel it. It's
I
tough to
love
talk
it.
sometimes.
I
It's
love
tough
it.
It's tough to put this emotion, this feelings
No,
into words.
it's
I get it.
it's kind of impossible in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
so for me, it's still surreal to me.
Yeah.
I still can't believe I see Lane Johnson up there in his sunglasses on media day. I see Brandon Graham wearing a dog mask and doing the Eagles fight song up on the, but it just doesn't. I see Tom Brady and Nick Foles in the friggin' Mall of America, that giant marquee sign. But it's I can't wrap my brain around it. It just doesn't seem real. How did we get here? How did this happen? It's unbelievable when you think about, like you said, Charles, from the beginning of the season. None of us expected this.
Mm-hmm.
If we're being really honest, I said 9-7, maybe 10-6, and you
Yeah.
push for the division.
That's
in the
actually,
playoffs.
that was my exact.
That's
that was
where
my
I was
exact
at.
We
pick,
all
yeah.
agree on
But
that,
look-
yeah.
And then not only do they surpass that, obviously they lose Carson Wentz, and you thought obviously all the other injuries, but to me the Carson Wentz one was the one where I was like, okay, that's it. They're not gonna. It was a really great season. It was a lot of fun, but without Carson Wentz, I just can't feel that Super Bowl excitement. And here we are. It's mind-boggling. None of this. It makes no sense. How do they take the number one defense in the NFL and say, and they come to your home turf and you say, nope, we're going to lay a licking on you. Like, it's just unbelievable to me. It's surreal.
It's called resiliency, boys.
It's unreal.
It's called being a team. It's called having leaders on a team, leading these guys on the field, these young kids, and helping them to develop. It's called next man up. That's what we've seen from this team over and over and over again. And I referenced Sports Hounds last night. Awesome point that I didn't realize. I believe Rob brought it up last night. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. But the Patriots in every Super Bowl that they've faced teams, they've never faced a team that had a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
that's a
correct.
really good stat.
Never realized
That's a
that.
great nugget.
That and the other stat that I really loved that you guys were pointing out last night, because I think it's going to play into this game, was that the Patriots have never scored in the first quarter of the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Which, to me, it's so telling of what could play into our hands with this. If you get a fast start, you got to get out ahead, give the defense confidence, and then make the Patriots play catch-up. We know they can.
Right.
We know that they can. But that's so huge for this team because, again, you're seeing the way Nicky Foles is playing right now. I don't know that he's going to put up the same game we saw with Minnesota, but I mean, I'm enjoying everything from Nick. I feel like the preparation is fantastic. You could tell him and Wentz and Doug and Flip, they're game planning. They're ready for this game.
Doesn't Foles just seem like a different guy right now? Like, even when you hear him talk at like media day, he's a different guy. Like, he's just very confident, very relaxed, very calm, and it's like, wow, you would not realize this guy is about to play this in the Super Bowl, and like everything he's gone through to be at this moment. He even said that, like, it's made him realize, hey, I just got to enjoy this moment. People are asking him, oh, you realize that when Carson Wentz is healthy, you're not going to be the starter anymore. And he's like, well, what can I do? Like, I get to play in the Super Bowl, and that's all I can do right now. And like, it's just this guy, this overwhelming oozing of confidence is unbelievable from Nick Foles.
It's so great.
We're gonna knock this out of the way because it always comes up right away.
That's what I was laughing at.
So I'm gonna first thing I'm gonna do. Mike Lipinski says first, shakes his hand. Hi, what's up, Mike? We got Brian Daly chiming in here. Looking good, boys. Bring that good juju for our boys in Minnesota. Go Birds. # underdogs.
Oh.
Arthur Shimko, this is probably when we were talking about Minnesota, says salty, of course.
Indeed.
And Michael Robbins, here it is. We get it every show. So, Michael, we're going to answer this for you right now. Can I ask a question? I've been watching this show, but I've always forgotten to ask, why is that Patriots jersey hung up in there?
There it is again.
I've seen it before the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, and I might have missed the explanation for it, but why? Simply put, and Michael, if you watched it and you watch the other shows, there's typically other teams' jerseys, but it's the GOAT wall. So, simply put, whether you love it or not, Brady is arguably considered the GOAT. And the reason it's still there is when it was hung up and when it was donated and hung up, they actually started playing even better. So with how things were kind of rolling, you don't want to bring that kind of bad karma and that kind of change in, particularly when that's the team you face. So there is a plan for this jersey on Sunday morning.
Very good plan.
For agree to disagree. But until then, the jersey stays until Super Bowl Sunday. And you know what? We've all talked about it on our platforms. This is our Ivan Drago picture. We're Rocky. This is Ivan Drago. Sunday morning, it gets ripped off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So get ready for it.
Love
But
it.
that's why the jersey's there, and we're going to keep it there. For now.
For now.
For now.
So let's talk about Media Week, because you've heard a lot of different things. I love the soundbite from Nick Foles today talking about what motivates him, and he was talking about his child and got very choked up and emotional. Again, it's one of those things like, how do you not get behind a guy like this, He's had the right mind frame since he came in. He knows his role. He's been nothing but complimentary about the preparation Carson's put in to make sure that they're ready to go. Him, the other guys on the team, and him as far as what's going to be needed, and talking about how he's been in the forefront of everything, even with his situation, and how he's handled his situation with class. It's just, I'm listening to these guys talk, and you hear Jay Ajayi and Doug Pederson, and what I love too that I'm not hearing, they're not buying into the baiting of the great Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They respect them. They pay respect to what they've accomplished, but they're not letting it engulf them. They're there. They understand how good this dynasty has been, but they're letting people know we're here to play too.
We're
here to win.
What Doug has said multiple times, he keeps saying, and he keeps saying it. He said it to the media multiple times, and he keeps saying it to his players. Keep it about us, and I love that. Don't, like you said, don't get caught up in the mystique of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You came there with a job to do. If you execute the way you've been executing all season long, you have a really good chance to win this football game. Now, regardless who's on the other, you've proven you can play with anybody in this league.
Mm-hmm.
So just play your game, and that's all you need to do.
I think I heard this earlier. I don't know if it was a quote from Doug P., but I think he said during one of his interviews was that he's not coaching against the Patriots. He's coaching for the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's a very strong quote because people have said that because we all know that Doug Pederson has history as a backup. He's had history with the Packers and all that. You know, he was there when Brett Favre was quarterback and everything. This guy does not get fazed by, you know, who people are. Like, the greatness, the stage is not too big for him. He's not going to meet Bill Belichick. He's not going to meet Tom Brady and be like, holy crap. You know what I mean? He's not that type of coach. He knows what he's capable of. And he's going to coach just like he has been the whole season. This game, even though it is the Super Bowl, is the biggest game of the year and so far of his career.
It's another game.
But it's to him, it's just another game to plan for, another game to prep for.
Look at the coaches he's either played for or coached with. Holmgren, Shula, Andy Reid. Like, it's not like he should be intimidated by these guys because he's worked with these guys. He's worked for these guys. He knows how they all operate. He knows what makes them all tick. And he's kind of incorporated a little bit of all of them into his style. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes him so – what makes Doug so great is that he has all these lessons from all these other coaches, but he still is himself.
He is what – I love this comparison. He is what Chip Kelly should have been, what we wanted Chip Kelly to be. Because we wanted Chip Kelly to be that – you know, that aggressive coach that was innovative, came up with all these schemes and, you know, was great and like outside the box. But Chip Kelly was never any of that. But what Doug P. is that.
And we thought it was the opposite.
Well,
we didn't think Doug P. was going to be that. I
mean, he's creative. I don't know that he's super creative, but what he does do
is really creative.
It's very creative.
But I'm not putting him on the Chip Kelly creative level though, because good, better, and different.
I would.
Everything Chip. I'm saying good, better, and different. Yeah. Everything Chip does, he tries to be the smartest guy in the room and come up. But what I will say, see, my thing is. You made a great point about all these guys that he learned from as a player and as a coach, but what he doesn't do is make those mistakes that those guys did as a coach.
Yeah.
And that's what I love is that he absorbed like a sponge, it seems, in a very quick period of time, and has developed a really fantastic coaching style that the players believe in, that the organization can believe in, and that the city can believe in, Ryan.
And the other thing that I've really seen him adapt very well over the course of the season and, you know, his tenure here in Philly is that, you know, the mentality of the faceless opponent. You know, for example, popping into Lane Johnson's mind, like, you're not worried about facing the Patriots or the Vikings. You're only worried about the person who's across from you. Nick Foles is not playing against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's only worrying about the people that are coming after him, and it goes for everybody. To where I think that's very important because I think that can lower the chances of being starstruck, not only in the stage, but also against the opponent because it is, you know, as much as people don't want to think, and I agree that, you know, they are very close teams as far as talent. It's definitely not like a David versus Goliath as far as a talent level.
Right.
It's much easier to pump into players' brains that it's all about who your opponent is, not the name of the team, not the name of the person. It's just who you need to worry about on the field, and that's it.
Again, it's just they need to take care of. They need to do the job they've been doing all season long. Because, there's no team they can't play with. They've already proven that. Yeah, and it's just I completely agree, Ryan. It's just doing your job. I hate to steal a Patriots phrase, but that's so true.
I was going to say.
Job. It's
I was going to say.
You can only beat the man in front of you.
Take Bill Belichick's words and shove them up his ass. Go out there and do your job.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be the key to winning this game.
And what I love is I feel like I don't get a sense at all that they are intimidated by the moment.
Nope.
That they're not. And it's like they're like the right kind of loose. Like they're
Yeah.
loose to the point where they don't seem uptight, but they also have a very much like we have a job to do. We came here to do it. Like I feel like they're in such a great place mentally.
Oh,
At least that's what they're
absolutely.
conveying.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you guys, and obviously the people at home as well. There's a lot of talk throughout the week that, the Eagles players are just like the Falcons were and the Seahawks were. Every opponent of the Patriots, they're talking too much. And, these dog masks, they're becoming distracted. Do you agree with that, or do you just think they're showing their confidence in their personality? Because they've been doing this all season.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think they're just being themselves.
Yes.
I think this is what the team they are. And why change that now? It has worked up to this point. It has worked really well. So why change it now?
And they're on the national stage at this point. I mean, they've been talked about nationally, but they're really on the national stage. And for the majority of the season, people have done nothing but run them down. It's been every reason why they can't do things. And we posted the quote stream earlier of every reason that's been given by the national media and all the experts, assholes like Nick Wright and what's the other?
Colin
Coward, who halfway through the season then became the biggest Eagles fan there was.
Well, I will say
aside from Shannon Sharp.
I will say this about Nick Wright. Nick Wright did. He came
he
out.
owned it.
Yes.
He owned it. He
Yeah,
said, "I was
exactly.
But
completely
you know what?
wrong
Too
about
late.
this team."
Too late. It takes us
No,
going to the
I
Super
hear
Bowl
you.
to be too late.
No, but I'm
Shove it
just
up
saying.
your ass,
Sorry.
Nick Wright.
Listen,
Yeah.
he was wrong, and he was
Right.
he was dying on that hill, and he completely died. He was beaten in submission on that hill.
He was.
But he did eventually admit it that he was wrong.
Eventually.
And if the viewers at home, especially those that are watching on YouTube, didn't see the post from earlier, we're referring to the quotes as in, the Eagles won't make the playoffs. The Eagles will not win the division. The Eagles have no chance to win any playoff game. The Eagles haven't beaten anyone good.
That
The
was a
Eagles
big
are
one for a
done
while.
without Carson Wentz. And
There
the
you
Eagles
go.
will never be the number 1 seed. And finally, that's right, the Eagles will never beat the Minnesota Vikings.
And they did all that.
All that.
And
Right.
more.
And more.
They would never beat
Absolutely.
Matt Ryan too.
Yep.
You could go on and on. You really
Hey.
could.
But that's what they've done. So you know what? Now they say, good, we embrace it. That's fine. We're the underdogs. And just like you shoved it in our faces that we couldn't do this and couldn't do that, we're going to shove it up your ass so that we can do it.
Yeah.
We are the underdogs. That's right. And good. Show them that you got a chip on your shoulder, that you're not going to be intimidated. Count us out so we can prove everybody wrong yet again. I love the mentality of this team. I love that they have a head coach that backs them. I love the coaches on this team who very clearly understand their players and understand their skill sets and what's going to make them successful in this defense, the offense, the special teams. It's just a really fun time to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan, not even just now, but going forward.
The only thing that was said, even too, like talking about like the Eagles, like talking. The only thing that I've heard that you might like that maybe the Patriots could use it as bulletin board material, whatever, was Lane Johnson.
Oh,
The
it's Lane
excitement,
Johnson, yeah.
the excitement coming off the game. Him saying "Pretty Boy Tom," like clearly he was fired up. They had just won. They just blew out the number 1 defense in the NFL. He knew he was going to the Super Bowl with his friggin' dog mask on. He's all fired up, and he said something kind of dumb, and he kind of admitted that. He's like, I got a little bit excited, and that's it. Like, really, have they really done? Yeah, exactly. Have they really done or said anything like egregious or
No,
like
I don't
crazy or
remember.
outlandish?
Well, you know what?
I
You want
mean,
to talk about bulletin board material? Bill Belichick and his smugness. They said, what's different about this Super Bowl
it's
than
in
any other
Minnesota.
one? It's in Minnesota.
He's an ass.
I'd hang that shit right up and say, that's right. There's the difference, guys. You're no different than
That's Bill
anybody
Belichick.
else.
That's
Bill
actually a good
Belichick.
You
point.
remember that.
I didn't even look at it like that until you just pointed it out. But you're
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
Just remember, guys,
That's a
you're
good
no
point.
different. In their eyes, you're no different than anybody else that they faced on this field. You're
Yeah.
no better. And
Yeah,
then
wow, that's a really good point, Crum. I wouldn't even have thought of it like that, but now I'm offended.
that's the first thing I thought of when I read that. When I saw that, I'm like, screw him.
Yeah.
Screw Bill.
We'll prove it. You know what I love about like what you guys were talking about earlier, that there's just this confidence and everything, is that even all the we've proved all the doubters wrong, all the national media, the Nick Wrights of the world, everyone, but let's take it a step further. We've proven even Eagles fans wrong. There have been Eagles fans who stopped believing after Carson Wentz went down, and
A lot of people
lot
that
of
stopped
them.
believing when
And
Carson went down.
You guys know me by now. I'm petty. I am. I don't forget crap. And
Well, we can
when
talk
someone-
about. We'll get into the specifics of it later.
so like something like that, I am always on top of people. Like, oh, you said they had no shot. I've been saying it for weeks. Like,
Right.
you said they had no shot. What's going on now? But I'm at the point. This is Super Bowl week. Like,
Let the
It's
positivity
just
fly
great.
away.
It's
Screw them.
great
Enjoy
that
it.
what makes me happy is that this team is so special that they've made believers out of doubters in their own home. Like if you can do that for your own fans and prove a point and get them to have faith in something, that's special. That's a special team. Like I've had that done for me years ago, and that's why I don't ever give up on the season. But if this team has been able to do that for so many fans now, that is truly special. And I think that's what's great is that we can, no matter what we were saying and disagreeing on before, we can all just come together and be like, hey, let's get this one more win and we can all be champions.
Couple more on Facebook, and then if you got some YouTube, we'll hit YouTube.
Yep.
Ralph Delavecchia, Ralphie D. What up, boys?
Ralphie.
Ralph says, what up? That's it. Brian,
What up, Ralph?
Brian Gates says, much respect for a lot of the players from Philly. That being said, I hope they win. If they do, I'm happy because I don't like much of the Patriots win. But if they lose, I'm happy because my money is on the Patriots. Fair enough. That's okay.
Okay.
But you want,
Is it
you-
still what's it, still 5.5, right?
I
I thought it was
looked.
4.
Was it 4 now? Did it go down to 4? I didn't realize that.
I
Wow.
could be wrong, but I think I heard it went down to 4.
Brandon Jays, Big V versus Harrison. I'll be on that matchup.
Yeah, I admit that's a scary one.
That's a
James
very scary
James
one.
Wilder, they just being the Eagles, end zone celebrations to dog masks. They're just having fun, staying lax, and not being intimidated by the stage.
I agree
And the
with
end
that.
zone celebrations is a great point because there's been nothing that's disrespectful to the other teams.
Yeah, they haven't
Again,
done it
we've-
during the playoffs, really, right?
Nah,
Haven't
we've
really?
mentioned it.
No, they haven't.
We mentioned
Yeah.
it. You know, they're not acting like they're taking a piss on the field or anything like that.
Right.
Like they're out there, they're
They're having
having
fun.
And you know what? It's been stuff that everybody around the league has enjoyed.
And I love it's
Creativity and
Yeah.
fun.
team celebrations, too.
Yes.
They're not individual celebrations.
Yeah.
They're team celebrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob Lutman says, yo, yo, yo. Greg says, have a good show, boys. Just have some Memphis barbecue. I'm jealous, you bastard.
That sounds really good.
I'm not going to answer the poll question as it's all positive week. Few more days. Damn you, Greg. You got us again. I thought we were going to get a nice answer here. So Mark Keller, our boy Mark, he says, guys, I'm so fired up. This is all in caps, by the way.
Of course
Guys,
it
I am
is.
so fired up and stressed out and just, can I get a go Birds? Go Birds!
Go Birds, Mark!
And he says, and then when we were discussing people that, especially when Carson went down, gave up, he, again, all caps. Everything he typed is all caps.
Of course it is.
That's me.
Mark.
I admit it. But I quickly stopped that bullshit. And then he has a, go Birds!
Go
Well,
Birds!
see,
Very nice.
Love you, Mark. I love you.
I think all three of us have admitted we've all eaten crow on this show. We've had no problems
Oh,
admitting,
yeah.
hey, we were wrong about things because we're not that kind
There's
of.
nothing
We're not those
wrong.
kind of people. There's nothing admitting.
There's nothing
hey,
wrong with admitting you're wrong.
this is what I thought. I was wrong.
And
Yeah.
poor,
Nothing wrong with that.
and
Nothing
Greg
wrong
chimes
with
in
it.
with, by the way, someone get Paulie a heater. I can hear him shivering.
Yeah. Well,
He's
yeah.
in front of the heater. I'm the one that's like
I'm good.
outside of
Yeah,
the heater.
it's not that bad. We're good. But, yeah, what do you got over there on YouTube?
We do. We got our usuals. Jay Lash 90 chimed in first. He says, I've had a choked up feeling with happiness all week. I don't know about anyone else. I have a feeling about this game, fellas. Don't be surprised if the Birds shock the world. Joseph Lewis responds to him and says, me too. I feel it in my bones. Todd Womack, been keeping my emotions in check, but once Friday hits, I'm going to be lit. Let's go Eagles.
Let's
Friday
go,
seems
Todd.
like-
You're right. Let's go, brother.
Friday seems like a day that that'll probably when my juices start
Yeah.
getting flowing too.
That's
Friday.
I have off because I'm going to the Wing Bowl, so I'm going to.
Oh, well, that's a totally different kind of juice flowing.
Yeah. I've never been, so I don't know what to
Yeah.
Oh,
expect.
God.
Yeah,
I went to
I don't know what to expect.
I went to the one in 2005. That was the worst they ever had. They started having tickets for it after that when it used to be free.
Oh,
dear.
That was the one with all the naked chicks, and it was crazy in there. It was nuts. In
Charles,
there.
I'm going to go ahead and predict that this is going to be your first and your last. But anyway, can
That's
I
what I
went
keep
to,
hearing. But
I
hey,
went to one 2 years ago after 10 years, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this again.
no.
Not for another 10 years.
I-
Can't
I
put
just-
myself through this anymore.
No.
I just want to be able to say I went to one. I never gone to one.
I've never, and I'm good.
Me too.
I'm good.
Alright,
I went to the one that Mick Foley participated in.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
So that's probably why you
Yeah.
went. Sure.
Well,
Did
no,
he
it wasn't
cheat?
why I
He
went, but it was
cheated, right?
cool.
Yes,
he
he
did cheat.
cheated.
Yeah, he started throwing him in his fanny pack.
Oh God. All right. J 90 again says the Eagles playing in the Super Bowl in Minnesota, and they even are dressing in the Vikings locker room. Reminds me of that scene in Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby gets replaced. Yeah, that's a good one. Joseph Lewis says Todd Womack, I couldn't keep my emotions in check. David Rosca says Mandy Rose odds on favorite next year Royal Rumble.
That's what I was laughing at like 5 minutes in.
I'm guessing. I'm
there's
just
a lot
guessing.
there is a lot of Mandy
Chrome.
Rose love on this station and Alexa Bliss.
We don't
Alexa
hate
Bliss.
it though.
No, hey, listen.
I would
Smart-
never hate
smart-
Alexa
right.
Smart chat.
All right. Todd again says, trust me, it's hard, especially working with a Pats fan.
Ooh.
Oh, that sucks.
Ooh.
But I'm not getting
Truck
cocky
bullets.
because I want a W, not to be just there. No one remembers the losers.
Right. Let's
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I mean, well, we remember the losers when we're the losers.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's not cockiness. It's not. It's believing in your team. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, you have people who are a little over the top with it, but I don't think anybody really looks at the Patriots and says this team stinks. We're way better I think we are a better team this year. I think we're in a lot better position to win this time than we were 13 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that Patriots team was much better.
And I
Much better.
believe that, and this is no disrespect to that team because I loved that team in 2004, but this is one of those teams that there's just something special about.
There is. There's
Yeah.
totally a vibe or an aura or whatever.
It's just
It
one.
is.
Yeah, I mean they make you believe time and again and overcome adversity and everybody can get behind a great story like that.
Mhm.
Now you have idiots from Minnesota who try to trample on it the week before the
Of
Super
course.
Bowl, but
Salty.
you know the same fans who hit a 13-year-old little girl going down an escalator, and nobody talked about that.
No one
But
does. Yeah, no one
I
wants to talk about
digress.
that incident.
I digress. But
Salty McSalt faces.
but there's it's just one of those things like there's just something about this team.
There is.
And it's a baseball reference. You'll understand where I'm coming from. The last and probably I'll get hated for this because it's 2011, but I'm a Cardinals fan. That September, the way that team played and came from 10 games behind, it was September 10th and they were like 10 or more games behind to catch the wild card the last day of the season and went on a tear.
yeah,
the
and they can
last
thank the
team-
Phillies because they swept the Braves and kept the Cardinals in it.
That's awesome. But that's the
You're
last.
welcome.
That's the last.
Because they had to get 102 wins.
For me as a fan, that's the last team that I can feel anything even close to that. And as amazing as that was, I just feel something different about this team, guys. And maybe it's because I'm experiencing it in the city. And I work in the city every day, and the love that you see everybody having and people talking Eagles, it's just it's awesome.
Well, I'll ask you guys a question that Rob asked me last night. It was a great question, and he asked me, at what point in the season did you know something was different? Like, okay, here we go. To me, it was week 6. It was whenever we beat the Panthers on that Thursday night football
Yeah.
game. Because the way that entire week we put up on the page, a screenshot of everyone on NFL Network, all of ESPN, FS1. And they all picked Panthers, and no one gave the Eagles any chance in hell of winning that game, and they won the game. And then you look at how they won that game. And I remember coming out off of that game, and Tom had called me like 2 seconds later. And I said to him, I'm not saying Super Bowl yet. You remember this, I used to refer to the Super Bowl as that word that began with an S and ends in a bowl. I wouldn't even say Super Bowl.
Oh God.
And I said, but this team could do something very, very special. And I said, I don't know why yet, but there's just something about this team.
So
What was the point for you guys?
Well, I would say it's that game, and I think I was having a conversation with Charles, and I said to him, I always use gut check as a reference, but I said that to Charles, like, this is gut check week. This is where we prove, is this legitimate, or was this just a smoke screen up to this point?
Mhm.
And I remember saying to Charles after that win, like, this team is for real. Like, this is a team we need to get behind. I just felt like the way that and all the adversity of all the flags in that game too.
Yep.
Everything that
Yeah.
could have gone against
Lots of
them
bad
in
calls.
that game.
Yeah.
And how many times have we watched year after year in games like that? I'm not saying they always happen, but in games like that where things don't go their way, maybe even out of their control, they can't overcome it.
Yep.
That was the moment I said, I believe in this team. There's something different about them. There was every reason for them to lose that game. And they shut it all down, stuffed it in the mouth, and kept going. I loved it.
I actually kind of have two moments,
Yeah.
oddly enough.
Please don't take mine.
So
Good.
I'm probably going to take it. Sorry. The Denver game.
No, that's not mine.
So
Go ahead,
they get Jay Ajayi, which to me was like the signal of, hey, we're going for this damn thing.
Yeah.
Which I loved. That was a huge move by Howie doing that. Then not only does that happen, they host at the time the #1 defense in the NFL, and they throttle them, completely dominate on both sides of the football and destroy them. Jay Ajayi on his first game scores a 50-yard touchdown
and
before
he
the half.
barely knew the playbook, by the way.
So that's when, to me, it was like, this is insane. Because, like, yeah, I know Jay Ajayi's a really talented guy, but like you said, he didn't even know the damn playbook, and here he is breaking off 50-yard runs against the #1 defense in the NFL. So to me, that was just like such a mind-blowing. I'm like, gee, like at that point, I think I said, holy shit, they might win the damn Super Bowl. I said, like, I think I said it then. But then, obviously, when Wentz went down, things changed. And then, to me, the moment I started believing, and the moment that I've eaten crow for many times, I thought they were going to lose to the Falcons. But they came out in the second half. Nick Foles played extremely well. Doug Pederson's game plan was phenomenal. The defense dominated. And I said, okay. And I said it on the show.
He did. He texted me, too. He said, I got a lot of crow to eat tonight.
And I said, I said on the show, I will never doubt this team or this coach again. Because that was – I did not think they were going to win. And it was just – to me, that second half was very convincing.
Yeah. For me, okay, you didn't take mine, so thank
Good.
God. For me, mine was actually a lot earlier, and I wouldn't say it was the most resounding moment where I was like, oh, this is for real. It was more of like the start of the itch. It's like, all right, like I think there's something here. It was the Jake Elliott game against the Giants. Now, you guys know me. I hate the Giants with a passion. Like, I have a lot of friends who are Giants fans, a lot. And whenever we lose to the Giants, it's always tough for me because I have to deal with all of them. But that game, when we were leading, and they came back, the Giants came back and took the lead on that long touchdown. Was it Sterling Shepard that had the long touchdown?
Sterling Shepard, I think, had 2 touchdowns. I can't. It was.
He had one go-ahead touchdown.
They scored like 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, in my head, I was thinking back to 2006 when the Giants came back in Philly, and I was like, oh, not this again. This is the type of game we lose. The Giants come back and they beat us. But Corey Clement scored a game-tying touchdown, and then things just fell into place. We stopped them. We got another bad punt by the Giants punter, and the completion to Jeffrey to put us in position. And then they're lining up 61 yards, and I'm sitting there.
Everyone's thinking
and
overtime.
I'm like, this is gonna go over there. This never, ever goes in for us. It goes against us. Matt Bryan goes against us.
That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah,
too,
Matt Bryan. Matt Bryan's gonna make it, but there's no way Jake Elliott's gonna make it. But it goes up, and it looks like it's gonna go wide right, but then it just squeaks by and goes right over the goalpost. And it was when the start of like, okay, I think there's something.
We've had
here.
some
something
epic wins
special,
against
dude.
The Giants, by the way.
Well,
FYI,
Oh yeah,
I was
like
gonna say all
are you
year, but
kidding?
yeah,
We
I
had
love it so much.
miraculous wins against the Giants. It's so awesome.
You have
playing
4 victories over the Giants. You could theoretically call miracles.
And I'm going to go back to Facebook because we've had a lot of chiming in. We're getting some Brady facts. I hear that.
Oh boy!
And I'm looking. I think they've invented Pederson facts.
Yeah,
as well.
there's Dougie facts too.
That's the
So
thing now.
I'm going to go. Mark says I feel it in my bones to. Schwau, I guess that's what that is. I felt it. I felt that if we get past Atlanta, we were going to go all the way. Then we went and beat Minnesota like we did. I felt it. I don't think this team will let themselves lose this game for them and for this city. Go Birds. We got Joe McClelland. Joe McClelland says Tom Brady actually hit the 13-year-old girl. And then James Wilder says Tom Brady steals candy from babies.
Hashtag Brady, facts.
Tim Floria says West Coast. I'm assuming that's where you're from. He's got a Birds logo, though, my man.
All right, thanks for shouting
There
in.
you go.
It's awesome.
West
Absolutely.
Coast.
Sean Spellman says Tom Brady can't beat Eli Manning. That is such a true.
That is
It's
that is
so
actually
true.
a real
It's
Tom
actually
Brady
very
fact.
true,
Yeah.
James Wilder says, well, any Manning.
Well, he
Brady
beat
can beat Peyton.
Peyton.
Joe McClellan says Doug Peterson builds a team like a Lego set. James Wilder says Doug Peterson solves Rubik's Cubes without using his hands. Hashtag Peterson
Love
facts. And then Joe McClellan says Doug Peterson and Tom Allen are actually the same, or Tim Allen are actually the same. And then James Wilder says, Doug Pederson replaces your Sunday paper before you woke up.
It's nice of him.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thanks, Doug. God, you're a good man.
Now, as far as this game, on Super Bowl Sunday, and there could be probably 15 answers to this. Who's the key player on the Eagles side of the ball, other than Nick Foles?
Other than Nick Foles?
Yes.
Vitae. For me, it's without a doubt
Ooh.
Vitae. Well, because someone brought it up, the matchup of him versus Harrison. So I want to preface this by saying, again, I said it last week, Vitae played the best game I've ever seen him play ever. And that's going back to me studying him at TCU. That's the best football game I've ever seen him play. And he did it against an all-pro defensive end, arguably the best pass rusher in the league this year.
And with him, too, he's been trending up.
This is true. You're absolutely right. The second half of the
Last few
Falcons game, he was excellent. After he didn't have a great first half, he was excellent in the second half. But with Harrison, there's a couple things that scare me with Harrison. One is just the flat-out experience. Harrison's been in this moment. He's done this many times. He's been watching Vitae film, figuring out how he can attack him. And the way you attack Vitae is you get leverage on him. You get low. And James Harrison is a squatty little man who can just bend right around that edge. And I just worry about Vitae. Vitae has to play the game of his life. I mean, he had to do it last week, and he did it, and he has to do it again this week.
See, now, to your point, I'm going to piggyback off of that. I'm going to say Ajayi, because if, for whatever reason, Vitae struggles, he's going to need that extra layer to protect.
Sure.
And B, the running game, to me, is what differentiates us here. They have a good running game. We have a great running game. And our running game is going to be what's going to be the difference maker here. Because I don't think the other skill positions minus quarterback are astronomically a difference. But I think Ajayi can be that guy on either side of the ball with the running game that could absolutely break out and destroy the Patriots defense. So to me, because of both of those reasons, you need the protection in the backfield, and he's going to be on the field for most of the game.
Sure.
And because you need him to set that pace, which will also allow the passing game to open up more, Jay Ajayi, to me, is the key on this team.
Love that answer because it's not going to be my answer. So I was hoping one of you would pick Ajayi. To me, it's a draw between two defensive players, Jenkins and Bradham.
I know you're gonna. Jenkins is a good one. Yeah.
Jenkins and Bradham, and this is why. It's because one, Jenkins is going to be lined up and probably covering Gronk.
Yep.
So he is going to be very important. And plus, since he's a safety, he's going to be dictating the coverages on the back end. That's going to be very, very important because the Patriots, what they like to do. They disguise, and they'll chip away. Our defensive backs have to be very disciplined. And we play cover 1, cover 3 mainly. So Jenkins in that box as either the robber or the linebacker is going to have to be very disciplined and call those coverages. 2, Bradham is going to probably be in coverage against those running backs. Patriots running backs, they like to pass to them, and that is going to be one of the key matchups is defending the running backs in the passing game. In the middle, out of the backfield in the flat, and Bradham is the key there. He has to be aggressive. He can't miss tackles. I'm not saying Bradham hasn't been aggressive. I'm just saying if this is any game where Bradham has to be even better than what he has been. He has to have the game of his career. Like cliche-wise, it's
I
a
hear what you're
cliche.
saying, yeah.
But he had Deion Lewis, James White, Rex Burkhead. They're all very good pass catchers out of the backfield. They will tear us to shreds if we are not careful. If our linebackers are not good in coverage, so that's why those two are the keys to the game for me.
What do you have, Ryan?
Good ones.
I was going to go with Ajayi, then I was going to go with Jenkins, then I was going to go with Vitae. So what I'll do is
give us another argument for somebody else to step up.
I'll go with Zach Ertz.
See,
Yeah.
Ertz is a guy I thought too. Go ahead.
Just because, and he was, obviously everyone was solid against the Vikings, so it's not, I can't discredit him and be like, oh, he kind of, disappeared. But over the course of the last, month and a half of the season going into the playoffs, and I think a lot of it we talked about before is due to injury, I really think he kind of disappeared, and whether that was because of the changing quarterback and establishing, chemistry, or whether it's just because of injury, Zach Ertz really needs to be there for Nick Foles because he still is a safety blanket. As much as we need him to, Nick Foles to target guys like Alshon Jeffrey, get the ball to Aguilar, make sure guys like Jai, LeGarrette Blount, Corey Clement continue to get the ball to take pressure off of the quarterback. I think it really comes to Zach Ertz because Zach Ertz, we show every time, especially on third downs, he has a way of getting open and just being that key guy, that clutch guy to make a play. And I really think, especially against a Patriots team that is known for really establishing an identity of the opponent's weakness, Zach Ertz, I really think they're going to have trouble getting to him, just given how great of a season he's had, especially early on, and obviously this past game.
Well, one thing I want to chime in with that too. I'm glad that you didn't go with disappeared because I think when you were away, we did discuss that.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that.
I think more of it, what it is he's getting more attention, and I believe that's opening up other opportunities for other guys. While you're seeing Torrey Smith and you're seeing Nelson Aguilar now kind of become more involved in the offense than when he kind of seemed like he was kind of out of it a little bit. I almost feel like when these guys step up, whether it's Ertz, it was Aguilar at a certain point, Alshon Jeffrey. I do think Alshon, though, was more so, too, getting that chemistry with Foles.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys now, there's so many weapons. They're commanding more attention, and then it's opening up other opportunities. I feel like that's more with Ertz, so I think he's making another impact on the field without having the ball in his hands. But I agree with you. I think that he's going to come out ferocious this game and ready to go.
I will say one thing with Ertz. This is actually, I follow Jeff Howe, who writes, he's one of the Patriots beat reporters for the Boston Herald. And he kind of laid out like all the matchups of what who he thinks is going to cover who. And he said he believes Patrick Chung will be the guy assigned to Ertz.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
expose that.
Well, that's the thing. Most Eagles fans would think that, and it's
that's
true.
not as
But Patrick Chung against tight ends this year has actually been
Very
really good. Not to say, listen, but but to your point, Ryan, as well. Yeah, Zach Ertz came back last week, and who did he come back against? Harrison Smith, who's a freaking all-pro. So if he can beat Harrison Smith, there's no reason why he can't beat Patrick Chung, although Patrick Chung has been very good against the tight end this year.
Here's the thing, though, that I spotted is that the Patriots, and I forget what the percentages were for the other teams, but the Patriots play predominantly man coverage.
Yeah.
And what they like to do, which is what no one else in the league does, is when they blitz, it's off of their dime and quarters packages, which means they have 6 or 7 defensive backs. And then what they do is when they're blitzing, when they're sending 1 or 2 defensive backs, they're doubling 1 or 2 receivers.
Yep.
So in the red zone, they're going to be doubling Ertz. They're going to be doubling Jeffrey.
Yep.
It's going to be up to Torrey Smith and Nelson Aguilar and the running backs to pick up because I'm telling you, I wish it could be Ertz. And he is definitely by far one of the most pivotal offensive weapons we have, if not to draw the double team. But it's just that I don't know if he's going to have a big game stat-wise because Bill Belichick is going to take away. What is the first thing we know about Bill Belichick?
Takes away your best weapon.
He takes away your best weapon. Our best weapon obviously has been Ertz. He's going to take that away, or he's going to draw up ways to definitely make it very tough.
Doesn't want to let Zach Ertz beat you.
Exactly.
He's going to make the other player. The other thing that is interesting that I read, Ted Wynn, who's a guy who writes for The Athletic, he said that for whatever reason, Belichick he takes away bigger targets. Like those are the guys he chooses to double. He doesn't double up like smaller, like he doesn't double up slot receivers. He doesn't double up like faster receivers. He doubles up big. So to your point, he's probably Ertz. You're right. Even not even the red zone, all up and down the field.
Up and down the field, yeah.
Jeffrey and Ertz are going to see the double team. So it is. It's going to be up to Aguilar, and it's going to be up to Torrey Smith. It's going to be up to the running backs. It's going to be up to Corey Clement on third down. It's going to be up to those guys to expose the rest of the Patriots' defense.
That still makes Ertz important, though.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to draw the attention still.
I just don't want people to be like, oh, he's not putting up catches. What's wrong with him? No, like, he's going to get attention.
No, and that's like I said, that's what I think has opened up opportunities for a lot of guys over the last 2 weeks.
To your point, absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Charles, because whenever you guys, make your predictions and, your players of the game, your point right there makes who I'm going to have as the player of the game make a lot more sense than even I realized when I said it yesterday. So I thank you.
All right.
I thank you.
That's
you proved your point ahead of time.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to jump back to Facebook here. We have Timothy Flory again says Pats have no pass rush.
Yes.
Frank
Not
Vespi
a great
says,
one, no.
answering the poll, Eagles win in a close one. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be a close
Yeah, I
game.
think so too.
It's going to be close.
Joe
I mean,
McClellan, Big V needs some Flintstone vitamins. And James Wilder, as far as moving the ball, Ajayi, they've hidden Ajayi all the playoffs after the first quarter against the Falcons. He is the not so secret weapon.
He's going to be fresh, too.
And he says, no one can miss tackles. That's your job. Do your job.
Mhm.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about. Do your job. Shove
Which they have been.
Belichick's words right up his own
Yeah.
ass.
See, and you know what? Going back to the important players, too, I mean, it's funny because you could literally make a case, I think, for every single person on the entire football team. But the corners are going to be huge this week, too, because they've played great against the Falcons and against the Vikings. Jalen Mills, Ronald Darby, Patrick Robinson were outstanding.
So good.
Really, they were great, and they're going to need to be great again. Patrick Robinson's going to have to take Danny Amendola out of the game. He's going to have to it's Brandon Cooks. You can't let Brandon Cooks get on top of you. It's so crucial.
I mean, it's fair. We know this. It's cliche, but everybody has to play the best game they've ever played in their entire life.
Yeah.
Chris Long said it himself. What's it going to take to beat to beat the Patriots?
The best
We
game.
have to play the best game we've ever played. It's that simple. And talking about Big V, as good as he was against Minnesota,
Yeah, he's got to do it
he's
again.
got to do it again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to need a lot of guys to step up. We need guys like Chris Long, not just with he's been amazing with the leadership in the locker room and on the field. But even those guys who were brought in and are role players, they're going to have to come in and step up.
Definitely.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I'm intrigued to see how they roll out too, because the defensive line rotation. I'm just curious to see how it's going to be in the Super Bowl, because now they have an extra week of rest. How many? It's like a delicate thing. I'm just curious, like how many snaps will Fletcher Cox play? Because he'll probably play more than he has all season, I would imagine.
But
Before
the
I get
concern
into-
is that
You want to stick with what works.
yes, you don't defer for what's been successful just
Well, no,
because it's
he
the
has
Super
in the playoffs. Fletcher Cox has been getting more
Right.
snaps
A lot.
than
He's
he
But
been
did.
I'm
a lot
saying,
more
I'm
than
not
he has in the
saying,
regular
I don't
season.
know that he needs the most he's ever had
Right.
in his career.
Not his career.
There's
but
enough.
Maybe
I know.
this year.
I know. But there's enough depth there and production from that depth
Yeah.
that you don't have to trot these guys out there so much. I feel like you need to. It's business as usual. Little tweaks here and there. It's the Super Bowl. It's the last game. You look at it that way. You want to win. You're going to have to be creative, like you guys were talking about earlier, and find points in the game where that creativity can fit and work. But I don't want them going and pulling any kind of crazy bullshit that's going to be like totally off from what we've done. I don't want them to overextend guys who maybe Cox can handle it, but I don't want to see other guys who can't get overextended.
To me, Fletcher. The reason I bring up his name is because let's be real, he's the best. He's the best player on that defense.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why, to me, if I'm Jim Schwartz, I might be leaning towards playing him a little more because you ain't playing tomorrow and you're not playing next week. You have a week off. Like you already had a week off. Like this guy's going to be as fresh as he can be. Like, so I'm just. I agree with what you're saying. Like your premise of you don't want to do anything outlandish. You want to stick with what got you here. But I'm also okay with giving Fletcher Cox more reps and giving Bo Allen less.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
What I
With
before
all
I
the respect to Bo Allen.
what I'm gonna say before I get to the YouTube comments in regards to that is there's something that can throw a wrench in that, and it's the Patriots' no huddle offense.
Right.
You know they're gonna go to that, and if they're gonna go to that, we can't sub as much. And I saw these stats. Now keep in mind these are a little bit skewed because we've faced a lot of teams where we've blown them out and they're playing catch up in the
Sure.
fourth quarter. But there are stats here: the Eagles' defense versus huddle as compared to versus no huddle, versus the when the opponent's offense huddles, their completion percentage against the Eagles' defense is 58.9%. When they no huddle, 68. When they huddle, yards per attempt 6. When they no huddle, 8.7. Passer rating when they huddle, 73.8. When they no huddle, 106.5. QB pressure rate for the Eagles defense when the offense huddles, 42.2% versus a no huddle, 36%, and then total yards per play, 4.8% when they huddle, when they don't huddle, 7.28. So there are stats that show that our defense is not as good versus no huddle. Again, there is a little bit of a little skew there here because we've been up late in games and teams are just passing. We're playing a little bit of soft coverage. But be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
The Patriots are going to go no huddle. It's going to be up to that defense to really bear down and not get worn down as
And
quickly.
maybe I will ride with you on the Cox thing because James Wilder's got me fired up now. He says it's been next man up all season. Now the season's over. You got one game left. Now it's all men up. It's going to be a smash fest. I'm with you, James. Fuck it. Smash them all.
I love it.
Flavors. All right. So YouTube, JLash90, he makes a good comparison here, and I really like it. The Eagles are the 1980 Team USA hockey team, and the Patriots are the Russians. We may not have the best players, but we have the right ones.
Man, everybody hates the Russians. You got Ivan Drago.
Well, they were very unlikable during that time.
They
Yeah,
were very
that's
likable.
true.
Jimmy Chonga.
That's a great
He
name.
says
Jimmy
it is a
Chonga,
good,
my man.
good name. Spreads down to 4.5. It'll be
4.5.
crazy. It'll be crazy if it's a toss up by the end of the week. Who knows?
I
don't
can
know
see it
how the
dropping
point
down to
spread works.
3.5 by the end of the week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't see going any lower
I
than
don't know if
3
it'll go.
before the game.
Yeah.
Headbanger McBaggin says, "Evening ATD, what's up?
What's up,
What's
buddy?
going
man.
on?
Todd Womack says, I forgot Philly Dilly guys.
Philly Dilly.
J
Todd
Hot,
Womack, my man.
one of my favorite commenters, J Hot 24/7 says, Long Dick Nick will lead us to the promised land. I'm watching Super Bowl 39 right now. I love that score front they had back then, the neon. NBC needs to bring that shit back. I think it was Fox that had that score front, but whatever. Edgar Venzer, is anyone concerned with our defense not being the same on the road?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But in fairness, this isn't the Pats at home either. So I
yeah,
think
that's what I'm
there-
saying. So I don't really.
There's a little concern to me. The Minnesota fans that are like giving them a hard time, they're not going to be the paying fans that are going into
No.
the game. So I don't expect
They
this,
sold all their tickets, salty
Yeah.
bastards.
I don't expect this to be us like a road game as per se. The Super Bowl really never is.
It's always
There's
even.
so many
yeah.
corporate tickets that are given out and everything.
Exactly.
It's more of
Yeah.
a social thing. It's like going to the Preakness.
And like people who bought
know?
tickets before they had any idea who was in
Yeah,
it.
to go, yeah.
Right. So I'm not overly concerned with that because again, same thing. The Patriots play great everywhere, but they play better at home. They're almost unbeatable at home.
Mhm.
Now it's neutral ground.
And the other thing is that I thought of, because like at the beginning of the week, I'm thinking to myself like, we always have to remember that they're not playing at home. You know, we're judging the last two games because they were at home, obviously. And then I went back to, and I'm not comparing this team that the Eagles faced to the Patriots. By no means are they the Patriots. But I go back to when the Eagles traveled to Dallas after the bye week. And I understand that was without Zeke, and I understand that's Dak Prescott instead of Tom Brady. I understand
But
that.
it's a divisional game.
That, and if you want to talk about crowds, well, there was obviously more Dallas Cowboys,
Sure.
That's
you know,
a
fans in
hostile
there.
crowd.
Mhm.
And that's a dome, that's similar atmosphere, obviously.
Another factor too. Dallas was desperate for a win.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Eagles were
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And-
And like I said, and the biggest thing that sticks out to me was it was after a bye week. And the thing we talked about earlier in the season was I always worry coming off of a bye due to, you know, obviously momentum, slow starts, you know, all that type of stuff. And they were able to win that game. And that was without a freaking kicker. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
So I put that all
Camus.
together.
Camus came up big.
Camus.
And I remember it's not impossible to win a game on the road with this defense. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
not. We can't expect the flawless defense as it is at home, but yet again, you know, matchups are a thing. And we talked about matchups earlier. I'm sure we'll talk about matchups for the rest of this week. That's in the Eagles' favor. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That just is.
No, I think we all agree. If you're comparing these two teams as football teams,
Mhm.
you can't say that the Patriots are a better football team.
They're
Yeah.
You
not.
can't.
They're
you
not.
can't say that.
Yeah, and we're going to definitely get into
Yeah.
the specifics in the second half
Yeah.
of the show.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely, if you wanna get back
Something
to that.
else that also Chris Sims brought up when I was listening to him. We should also kind of consider that the Pats defense might not be the same either because statistically this season the Pats defense has been better on the road. However, he hinted that the fact that they do that is because the way they run their defense has a lot to do with communication. They don't have the best talent on defense. So a lot of what they do is they mix up coverages, they mix up their fronts
With scheme.
this
yeah.
with scheme, and a lot of that is based on communication, lining up certain players in different spots, and when they're on the road, their defense is able to do that because there's so much crowd noise at home. When on the road, they don't have to face that. Well, they are on the road this time, but they don't have necessarily.
Yeah, it's going to be
their
there's
fans
going
are
to be crowd noise.
Their
yeah.
fans are still going to cheer when the defense is on the field, so their defense even might not perform as good as it has been performing on the road this season. Another thing, a little tidbit to watch. I thought that was very interesting. But going back to YouTube real quick.
I hope is Ryan laughing at a YouTube comment?
No, I'm laughing at Bill.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
okay.
If I can bring it up in a second
All
if you
right.
would like.
My fiance chimes in. She says, Jenkins all the way. She, by the way, if I didn't tell you guys, she went to the same high school as Jenkins.
Nice.
Okay.
Is
Oh.
it Piscataway, is it?
Piscataway.
Yeah.
Piscataway High School. Who's like, that high school is like a factory in terms of high schools in New Jersey. They have so many NFL players that have gone to that high school. It's insane. But yeah,
Hi, Mary.
he's friends with a lot of people that she's friends with too. So it's crazy. She also says, "Can't say I didn't call it." # Eagles go to the Super Bowl, year of the underdogs. For Chinese Zodiac, it's the year of the dog. So she's saying like year of the underdogs.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I
love
will
that.
say also that she did call it because she started her clinicals just now, and she's been in school for dental assisting. And earlier in the year, when we were getting ready for the season to begin and everything, we already knew like she wouldn't be able to watch a lot of the games. She'll be really busy with school. And she was like, "Watch, I'm telling you right now, they're going to go to the Super Bowl because it's the year that I can't follow them." And she's
Makes
like, "I'm
sense.
telling you, they're going to make it." I'm like, "Nah, babe, they're not going to. It's a rebuilding year kind of thing. I see like a 9-7. They're not going to go far."
It must be a women's intuition thing, because my girlfriend said the same thing from like the very beginning of the season. She said that they were going to go to the Super Bowl, and I said the same thing to her. I'm like, nah, like it's like it's going to be fun, like Carson Wentz. It's going to be a fun year, but they're not going to go to the Super Bowl.
Well, I heard
We should
I
listen
heard
to them
Ray
more.
Didinger do an interview, and before the season started, his wife said to him,
Oh my God.
"Where's the Super Bowl at?" And she said, and she is not a football fan. And he said Minnesota, and she's like, "Oh, well, the Eagles will be going there."
We should listen to them
These
more.
women-
often. We really should listen to.
Listen,
these
and it's
girls.
true because that's why, like, when you do those suicide pools and stuff, and like women who don't follow it will still get in it, like I had an ex-girlfriend, right? You know my ex-girlfriend, and she would be like, my initials are SF, so I'll pick San Francisco. And she would win on the weekly basis, like so much more than we would, who have the knowledge, because it's like we overthink it.
Oh
There's
yeah,
just like,
absolutely.
oh,
You can't pick
I
the
like-
upsets. Yeah.
I like those colors of that. I like the Lions jerseys. I'm gonna pick that.
Honolulu Blue.
And I
Yeah.
don't.
Yay.
And I'm not. I mean, I'm not trying to stereotype women, but that's.
No,
it's
I
like,
hear it, because there are plenty of women who really know their stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's just one of those things where like, and people like women who don't follow the sport this year, particularly because I keep hearing these
No, 'cause
similar
my girlfriend
stories.
my girlfriend doesn't follow
Have like
it. Said,
called it week one, where
yeah,
they're like,
she did. She's
"Oh,
a
"Oh,
lawyer.
I don't, they're gonna
I don't
go."
get it.
Gotta go.
It's crazy.
What?
That's it. Women's intuition. That's all I got. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
So it's not a similar story, but I meant to bring this up last night. So the night of Lindros, like his
Yeah.
his jersey was retired. I was
That was
going
great,
to
by
that
the
game,
way.
and our Uber driver, like we were talking about the Eagles game. Hey, he was a character, by the way. So
Oh,
like,
I believe it. I've been to a
so-
lot of those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he's like, "Oh, the Eagles are going to win in a blowout," and I'm like, "Really?" Like he was like so confident to where I'm thinking like, "Oh Jesus, like they're going to lose now because he's too confident. He's too freaking confident." So he's
Shut
like,
your mouth and let me out of this car.
exactly. Well, luckily it was like right before we got to the stadium. I'm like, "Oh, good, go, yeah. We'll move on. We'll forget about this." So he said to me, he says, "I haven't lost a bet in 13 years, and it's come to the point to where my friends won't even bet with me anymore because I never lose." He says, "I'm telling you." He looked right at me. He says, "The Eagles are winning a blowout," and they did. So I'm thinking to myself,
You need
Where's
to
the
find
super
that
driver?
guy.
what do you want? Yeah, are they
Where's
winning
the super
now?
driver?
5-star rating.
Yeah.
What did I say to you guys? Since the link is open, the first game I went to at the link was 2005. Aside from the Raiders game this year, I have never been there to see a loss by the Eagles, and I've never seen them win by any less than 25 points. I was at the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
I
You
said
were.
that, and I was not afraid to say it. When everyone's like, "Oh man, I hope that's a good thing and not putting bad karma," it's a good thing. I have something special.
Well, why are you in Minnesota right now?
Well, hey, if you guys want to start a GoFundMe and get me there, I'm down.
I'll tell you this as
I'm
well.
off Monday.
So the night of that game, obviously, Wells Fargo Center's right next to the link.
Yeah.
And over the years, obviously, and I don't think I'm the only one that would look at it like this, I would always look at Citizens Bank Park, and even to this day, I would look at it and get like a good feeling from it, like because that's where the Phillies won the World Series.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to past Eagles team or the Lincoln Financial Field before the season, but I'd be like, and that's the link. You know what I mean? Like, there's Citizens Bank Park. Oh, and there's the link. You know what I mean? Just because nothing's really happens, as far as, big picture. And I remember looking, the first time I looked at that stadium, and just something different. I'm like, whoa. I had to take a freaking picture of it. Like, I've never taken a picture of Link. I'm just like, oh, hi, Link. How are you? And I would move on. And I remember, like, this morning, I looked at that picture, and I'm like, just something seemed different while I was walking by there.
It's weird because I got this. So I work at the Wells Fargo Center, and I drive by the link on 95, and I drive so it's right there. And the last few weeks, I've driven by it, and I just looked at it. I've been like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like it is. It's like this weird vibe feeling. I don't know what it is, but it's just like this odd aura or something. I feel.
You're 100% right because I mean I just spent the entire weekend at the Royal Rumble, and all the events this weekend aside from tonight's. I gave my tickets up, but every day I went there, I would stop and just take a look at the link.
Mm-hmm.
And even you look at Citizens Bank Park, and they have a big "Go Eagles" sign hanging out. And then you look back at the link, and you're like, man, this is freaking awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, on the drive here, obviously, when I was in the car and everything, and this is South Jersey we're talking about, not Philadelphia. It's not like I'm driving through Philadelphia. Freaking like car dealerships and detailing places and gas stations where they have like the little Titantron, the little, video graphic. All of them, Fly Eagles Fly, like
Go
custom.
Birds.
Yeah.
And as I'm driving past there, because like there's a one street on Delsey Drive, and I hear on the radio like all these different radio stations, and they're talking about it. I'm like getting choked up in the car. I'm thinking to myself like, what's happening to me? Like this is a freaking Tuesday, and I'm already like getting choked up. I literally had to turn off the radio. I had to like have like a moment as I'm sitting at the road, like
pull over the side of the road.
We have to wait until Sunday for this, and this is happening now. But it's so great to see not only the the city. How crazy it is. When like 5 minutes from here, from the studio, there's a little bridge to where you can see the city, and there's all green throughout the skyline. And I'm looking at it, and there's just something different. It's just so great to where, when I was on my trip, it really didn't settle in. It didn't set in like, we're going to the Super Bowl. I don't know if it was.
You had to get here for it to settle in.
As soon as I stepped in the studio last night,
it
hit me. I'm like, I'm sitting here opening up Super Bowl week, and we're not talking about the Falcons. We're not talking about the Seattle Seahawks or the Denver Broncos. We're talking about the freaking Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yep.
No, and like I said, I went to the game, and especially if they win, I can tell you right now, we're talking about the feeling of that stadium. Is easily one of the top 5 moments of my life, and we talked about it because I ain't got no kids, I ain't got no wife. That's always my thing, right? But especially kind of being able to reflect on what that night led to if they were to win, I can tell you right now, I'll never look at the link the same again. That'll be like the church of sports for me. And it's just it is though. It is a different vibe around that stadium right now, and there's not even anything going on in it, and it's just a different vibe.
But like you said, Ryan, too, like because when you look, because you're right, you look at Citizens Bank Park, and even like last year going to a game when they suck, and just being in that stadium because you just feel like all these awesome memories. Like I remember I was there. It was the night before, so it was 2008. It was the night before they clinched the division. And my buddy just texted me. He's like, yo, let's just get standing room only seats. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Mm-hmm. So we did it. We're standing like right above the bullpen. And Ryan Howard, it's a friggin' bomb that lands like 2 feet in front of us. And I just remember all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like going to a crappy Phillies game in the middle of the summer when they have no shot at anything, when they're playing awful, and Maikel Franco's hitting 200, and like you just have this good feeling, this good aura that you feel.
You know why? Because we look at that stadium as fans, and we say a championship was won here.
Absolutely.
And obviously, like you said, Chrome, we can't say the same thing with the link because if there's a championship won, it's going to be in Minnesota. Yeah. we still get to say, and in my opinion, I look at it as the most magical Eagles season, the most special, the most fun Eagles season of my lifetime happened right there. And no one can ever take that away.
But my thing, and to that point, though, see, I still say that a championship was won there because everything that it took to get to that championship was the majority of it happened in that stadium.
Very true.
And that's where you win, you lose. You have to. And in this league, you have to win at home, right? They talk about that all the time. That's where you win championships.
You try to be 500 on the road, and that's generally
that's
sports,
the chemistry for
and
success.
win at
That's
home.
where it was all born. That's correct.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump a couple. James Wilder, real quick, chimed in. If you want to read like 2 or 3 off of there,
Okay.
and then we're gonna take a quick
sure.
break. We're not gonna take a long break. A very quick
Yeah,
break.
we got a lot to talk about.
So James Wilder, he says October 20th. That was the date the Eagles' fate was sealed, and they were going all the way. Ever since, it's been spine tingling. I can't remember what was October 20th.
Is that the Panthers?
That might have been the Panthers game.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, James. We think alike.
We're on board with you, James, on that one. And then he says, LOL, getting chills. This is happening. Let's go. He put caps there.
You know this. You know this.
If you guys put caps, I'm going to yell it. So
Let's read this one. Jayhawk 24/7. The Pats are practicing in U.S. Bank. Meanwhile, Eagles have to practice in a different facility. Another advantage for New England. WTF? Why can't they share U.S. Bank different times? Do you know the answer to that? I didn't hear anything.
I know that the Eagles are practicing at the University of Minnesota. I guess it's because technically
They are the
New
home
England
team.
is the home team. So I guess that's technically why that. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the Minnesota, because the University of Minnesota, I think, has like a bubble or whatever. So it's not like they're practicing outside. the freezing
Yeah, that's what I was
cold.
going to ask you. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like I don't know, like.
It's turf. They're
Yeah,
both
like
turf.
I don't think there's a real huge advantage from the Patriots there. But again, yeah, I think it's just the technicality of them. And so I would say like the big reason why you don't want, if you're the Eagles, you don't want to share the stadium because you want to keep your practice schedule.
Yeah.
You don't want to do a different practice
Yeah.
schedule. You want to keep the same one.
Yeah.
So yeah, if
Good
it's
point.
a choice between that, you want to keep the same schedule to keep everything as normal as
Yeah.
possible.
and you got to watch out for plants, right, guys?
Those cameras.
Those
cameras.
Those cameras. Search it.
Those cameras.
That's true.
Seriously.
You could totally secure up
Yeah.
University of Minnesota. You don't know about the
Exactly.
stadium.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, two more. One quick one. Robert Curatolo says,
Curatolo.
"Why are they wearing jackets? They turn off the heat in there."
If there was heat, what?
Nah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Paulie's always cold.
It's because we can, Robert. That's
Yes.
why. It's because we can.
Yeah.
I just really like this jacket. It's
just
really
because,
nice.
It's because the Eagles are
Um,
giving us chills right now, guys.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, we're not hiding. There's snow on the ground, so we're not going to hide from that. We're not going to pretend we're in freaking Florida. What are we? This is Philly right now. We're embodying the city.
Pretend we're
And
in
I'm sorry,
Florida.
is this not a nice jacket? Because I love this jacket. I've had
You
this
look
jacket
very
for,
nice.
Thank
you
you,
look,
Ryan.
You look dapper AF.
I've had
bro.
this. I've had this jacket for a very long
Don't you
time.
hide
I'm very
from
big
that.
fan of it.
Dapper AF.
It's nice.
And then the last one, we'll end the half with Renee Ballard.
Renee.
Renee. Finally, Renee.
Renee. I said we were taking the NFC. Wanted to say Super Bowl, but I've been brainwashed not to say those words during the season.
Ryan.
But I did
Get it
tell,
out of your head now, Renee.
But I
You
did
could say it.
But I did tell my husband we were going week 7. My husband got upset with me and told me not to say that. It's
Well,
okay.
you know what? You were right, Renee, and you can let your
Yeah.
husband know that you were right. And it's okay to say those words, guys. It's okay
Well,
to
I
enjoy
think
the ride.
it's okay for I mean, it's definitely okay for us to admit
Yeah.
that our girlfriends and wives were right.
They always are.
Because they always are.
Lesson
Exactly.
1,
They're always right. And you
Yeah.
remember that.
Always right.
Oh, I know.
Trust
Ryan,
me.
I know it. Trust me.
On the other side, we'll break down some matchups. We'll give some early predictions. Whatever else you guys want to talk about on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you guys if you were joining us on Periscope. So, thank you, Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayerLLC.com. Scanzano Sports, ScanzanoSports.com. The poll question, we're going to hit that back on the other side. From the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, BMWAtlanticCity.com. Guys, we will check you on the other side. Just a couple
We'll be
short
right
minutes.
back.
a good song, right?
I like this song.
Guys, welcome back to Birds of a Feather here on A2D, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, BMW of AtlanticCity.com. Our second half is brought to us by StreamSmart, StreamSmart.com. Guys, and we're going to get to our Scanzano Sports poll question of the week. We've been talking about it a little bit. We're going to continue to talk about it. We wanted to keep it simple this week, guys. We're going to be talking about all the stuff. We wanted to simply know, how do you feel like the result, the outcome of Super Bowl 52 is going to unfold? Eagles winning a close one. Eagles winning a blowout. Patriots winning a close one. We haven't had any of those yet. And the Patriots winning a blowout. Keeping it simple. We're gonna have a lot of predictions and everything going this week. So
I was ready for someone to start flowing over that beat.
yeah,
That's a
I can
good
keep
beat.
it rolling if you want.
No,
I can just
good.
put it on a
That's a
loop.
good beat.
Charles almost did.
He
there
was
for
in
a
it.
second.
Yeah, Charles
I
was
thought
in
he
it.
was
That's
going
a
to break
good
dance.
beat.
It's
That's
a
my favorite beat.
phenomenal music bed.
It
It might
is.
be my favorite at the moment.
But guys, we are back, and I wanted Paulie to know that James Wilder, right before the break, did say that you have a lovely jacket on.
James, thank you. Man of taste, I could tell.
Tom Arnone, our boy Tom Kennedy McMahon has chimed in, and he says Eagles will win in a close game. And he says Broad Street Wednesday, FYI. Is that official, Tom? Can you let us know that?
Oh, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
it
Well,
Wednesday?
they
Rumor.
had discussed today that they may push it to Wednesday. So, Tom,
Huh.
can you confirm that for
Yeah,
us? If
I-
you can, let us know.
I posted that I've heard that they're leaning toward Wednesday, making parade Wednesday, but maybe not.
You don't-
It's nothing set in stone.
Well,
It could be any day. I
my-
don't care. It could be any day.
My boss
Just
isn't
not
watching
Thursday.
this right now at my other job, not my main job, and I'm gonna say that I'll probably show up to work. not
Tom did
feeling so great.
confirm the parade has been confirmed for Wednesday.
All right.
So, make plans accordingly, folks.
Yeah.
We're going to need to
I
make
already
plans
did.
accordingly because we need to get that $5 million at least out there.
So
It's gonna come easy.
Oh, I know.
we talked during the break room, and I said, and if you want me to ask now, I can, or I could save it. I said I have two more questions for you guys and the
Jump
people. at
in.
home.
Let's just jump in.
And we talked about it last night, and I'll talk about it tomorrow, and until probably obviously on our Saturday show as well. Where were you guys the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl? Where were you?
I
How
watched.
old what was
do you mean?
what?
Like where we were watching
Oh.
the game.
No. Like what was going on? How what
Sorry.
was your age? What was your deal back then? What was
I
your
feel
deal?
bad.
You know what I mean?
I feel old.
I heard you guys
You
discuss
feel-
this
yeah.
last
Yeah.
night, which was awesome. And the list that you put of things that didn't exist.
I can bring that up for these viewers as well.
Bring
if
that
you'd
up.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring that up. Because some of the things on there, it was funny when you guys were mentioning them, and you're like, oh, man, this didn't exist. And I'm like, yeah, I remember when that didn't exist. It wasn't a big deal. But
Yeah.
some of them, I was like, wow, that didn't
It
exist.
blew my freaking
I
mind.
know. Well, you guys
You
are.
couldn't use your phone for the
they're-
internet.
They're
No,
a
you
little
couldn't.
bit. They're a little bit younger than we were.
Yes.
Well, were sidekicks were out then, weren't they?
Psych, yeah. You could wait.
think so.
They were like just coming out.
Right.
Like just coming out.
But so let me see. When the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, that was January 2005, or was it February? Whatever. Regardless, I was 19 years old. That was senior year of high school.
No, freshman year of college.
He's correcting him.
We had
Oh,
graduated
God damn,
already.
you're right. Jesus.
I was at Rutgers.
That might have been. I went through like
Chrome was in a different place then.
No, you were 18.
I was drinking a lot
Oh, because
back-
you went.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
went to
I
high
got
school.
it,
I was
gotcha.
drinking a lot back then. Oh shit! Yeah, I can't even do my math. I was almost 20 then. I turned 20
man.
like 2 months later. Jesus. No, I was 19. I watched the game at home with my family. It was a heartbreaker.
Oh God.
But I have very vivid memories of that run, and I felt like that year with all the heartache we had the years before. I just felt special about that team too. I don't feel this team is a whole other level, but I remember watching that season unfold and guys like McNabb and Trotter who had come back and they were having this success that they were having, and it just felt like then like that team that was there was a lot more veterans on that team too. But that was like
Yeah.
when you saw like the touchdown in the end zone was AJ Smith. I'm thinking AJ Styles.
LJ.
LJ Smith, where the ball popped out and landed in his hands in the end zone. Was that the Falcons game?
No, that's the Vikings game.
The Vikings
yeah,
game.
Divisional
Vikings.
round.
I can't remember.
Freddie Mitchell.
But I
Yeah,
remember
it came
watching.
out of
I
Freddie
remember
caught
he
it.
got
LJ
hit and the
Smith.
ball popped out,
LJ
and
Smith
Freddie
got hit,
Mitchell
Freddie
caught
Mitchell
it.
caught it.
And that
I
was the game
remember
that Freddie
I could
thanked his
still
hands.
remember
because
that,
he
and I was like, "Oh my God, this is actually going to happen. This is our year." Unfortunately, it didn't fall out that way. But no, I was home with my family, and it was awesome. I had a bunch of people over, and we had a party, and I don't think I had ever really had like a football party, but I remember we decked the house out. We had the banner going across the whole front of the house, and it was awesome. Yeah, I mean, I just remember that, and then I remember the heartache after it.
Yeah, took me
I
a
never
while.
forgot the heartache after that one.
It took a while. I was a freshman at Rutgers, New Brunswick. I watched actually the NFC Championship game by myself in my dorm room on the weekend, and it was nice. It was nice because I didn't have anyone
lighted any candles.
bothering me.
Sorry.
It was
I
actually
lighted
very
candles.
relaxing.
It was very relaxing. But I
But he
didn't have
wasn't
anyone
drawing a
bother me.
bubble bath because back then he didn't have like an iPad that he could set up.
That was actually before
It's
the
true.
iPad.
It's true.
Yes,
It's before the
very
iPad.
true.
But we had I was similar to you. We had a big Super Bowl party. 2 weeks later, obviously, at my parents' house. A bunch of people over, and I just remember, it was up and down game. Obviously, like it was close the whole time. But towards the end, I remember it was the drive that took forever because they weren't hurrying up, and they weren't going clock was running down, but they weren't speeding things up. And I just remember my dad, and I get a lot. My sports passion comes from my dad. Now I've taken it to another level, but I get it from him. I'm an Eagles fan because I wanted to follow his team, the Eagles. If it weren't for him, I would probably be a fan of the Niners. So thank God, I wanted to take after my dad. But he, I just remember everyone was silent because they were stressed out. We were all stressed out. We were like, crap, they're not looking so good, and they're taking their time. And then I just hear
The clock
only my
management was
dad,
terrible in that game.
obviously. You hear my dad, the only one. He's screaming at the top of his lungs at the TV, "Hurry up! What are you doing? You have no time. You have no time." And like that, it's just vivid. It's just stuck in my head because I'm just thinking I will always hate Andy Reid for this. Like I really will. Like I will always
And he
hate
has.
Andy Reid because of this.
This is so cathartic. It's
Wait.
amazing.
But what did and again you start thinking about these things. I painted my face half green and half silver, and then I had a buzz cut. I sprayed my hair green, and I put the fake temporary Eagles tattoos on my
That-
face. I did it all up. But what I also remember is I wore a black jersey. And I always said I will never wear another Eagles black jersey, and I've never worn a black. I bought that McNabb here. I have never worn that jersey since that.
Why would you
day.
bring that here? Why would you bring that bad
Wha-
karma
wha-
here?
What are you trying to do?
What are you doing?
That's going to get burned too. Like, you've caused this now. Like, this is a thing now.
Listen, until Carson does what we know he's going to do, he's still the best quarterback in the history of the Eagles franchise. You can say what you want. He's still number 5 is still the best quarterback.
He
So,
is.
yeah.
in fairness, there could be a spot for him on the GOAT wall right now.
Maybe.
Love it
could
or
be.
hate it, is what it is. But I remember I said I'll never wear another black jersey, and I've never purchased and never worn an Eagles black
That's
jersey
funny.
since then. And I love them. I love the blackout jerseys.
Yeah.
I just can't bring myself to do it.
It's
I
one- the-
had too much heartache the last time I wore a black jersey.
Before I was wearing this, remember how I told you my tradition is I pick a jersey
Yeah.
and I wear it until they lose in the playoffs. Well, the Westbrook jersey I was wearing was the first jersey I ever got, but it was a present from my dad for the Super Bowl. And I never picked it for any of their other Super Bowl runs, but I was like, my mindset going into this year was like, all right, this kind of has demons to it because when I wore this for the first time, they lost in the Super Bowl, but I feel special. I feel this team is special. So I'm going to wear it, and then if they make it to the Super Bowl, I feel like the demons will be exercised. But then Mary bought me this, and I was like, all right, I have to wear
If
this.
they win, I actually have a picture of it, of my face when they lost. I do not look happy in this picture.
No.
If they win, I will take a picture, and I will post it, of what it's like to hit the ultimate low and the ultimate freaking
do
high.
that, please do that.
So, where were you at?
Okay, so I had just celebrated my 19th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. So yeah, it was right. It's similar, right before the Super Bowl, right? Because used to be Super Bowl used to be the last Sunday in January. So there was actually a couple Super Bowls that were on my birthday growing up until they changed it. Whatever. But let's see. I was thought I was a musician at that point in my life. I still
was this like brush hair?
Oh, dude, hardcore. Like, dude, my hair brushed aside. And it was like if I would have let it, it would have covered my entire face.
He had like the shaggy punk rock hair where it was like
so
long
bad.
Dyed black and like over his eyes brushed to the side.
Oh dear!
Is this on your Facebook? Can I look this up?
No, you won't find it on my face.
Ah, damn.
He got rid of those pictures long ago.
That shit's buried.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that, Paulie.
Yeah, so that existed for a little bit. But I always loved sports, and that never went away, even when I thought I was a musician for a few years. At the time, I was working at the Applebee's in Voorhees.
Nice.
And so I remember I got scheduled to work. And I was like, okay. It was like me and one other person. I'm like, all right, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show up. They're going to send me home because we're going to be dead. No one's going to show up to fucking Applebee's to the Eagles Super Bowl. No one's going to be here. There's no way. So no. So I get there, and it's true to form. Nothing like there was some to-go stuff earlier because people were getting food, whatever. It's cool. So it was like me and another person working the to-go counter, and it gets to be like towards close to game time. I'm like, all right, cool. They're going to cut me soon. Like, this is awesome. It's going to line up perfectly. I'm going to get to go home. So whatever reason, that manager and I decided he was going to be a dick and not cut me. So here's what I did. At the risk of getting fired, I did not care. I told the girl, I'm like, listen, you can keep all the tips. I'm sitting in this seat once that kickoff happens, and I'm not moving. I'm watching the game. And I sat there, and I watched it, and he watched me do it. And I'm like, dude, you either can pay me to sit here or you can send me home. So I think like I watched like the first quarter, and then he was like, all right, you're cut. I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna stay here and watch the rest of the half, and then home. so that's what I did. So I was already all jacked.
That's a real Eagles fan. I'll lose my job over this.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, Applebee's,
that's
dude,
awesome.
please. And then 10 years later, I still work there for a little bit. But yeah, and then I got home for the second half, and it was just similar to yours. It was it was just like my family. It was like me and my dad, my mom, my sister, my brother-in-law. And we just watched the game together. And it's funny because your dad's reaction, my dad's reaction was the opposite. Because my dad was the most cynical human being ever. And whenever stuff started going sour for Philadelphia, he'd be like, well, we're Philadelphia fans. You should have seen this coming. It's so funny because even I remember the night the World Series Game 5, Part 1, I remember when it was starting to rain and it was starting to build up. And, we had gathered a bunch of people at Dom's in Belmar. We were all fired up. Oh, yeah, we're going to have a party tonight. It's going to be amazing. Rain came, delay. My dad's like, why did you not expect this? You were a Philadelphia sports fan. Have I not taught you better than this? You should have seen this coming. And that's how it was. He was all fired up during most of the game. But then when the fourth quarter hit, he's like, nope. I knew it. I knew because but it's so sad. And and this is a guy who he grew up. He saw the Flyers win 2 Stanley Cups. He saw, you know what I mean? He saw the Sixers win championships. I mean, come on, man. You saw, it's not like you never saw anything. You saw the Phillies win the World Series. And that's where his cynical brain went. Yeah. So, but it's amazing that I didn't turn out nearly as cynical. But yeah, that was my Super Bowl. Good times.
Ryan was a pup then.
Yeah, right?
Oh dear.
Were
So
you
I
born?
was yes, I was born barely. So I was I believe I was 7 years old at the time.
Oh God.
And
I
I was
feel old again.
I was in elementary school, and the kicker here
I
was
was almost triple his age at that point.
Holy crap. Right.
and the kicker here was that the elementary school I was at, we had a pep rally every single day at the end of the day for the Eagles. So I was already an Eagles fan, but this was this freaking paradise. Oh my God, this school was being replaced for a pep rally for the Eagles. Oh my God, this is amazing. And they weren't 20-minute pep rallies. They were pep rallies. So where the freaking news came the one time.
Yeah.
So our school.
That's awesome.
I got all the jerseys, the customized, the one, for example, the one you have with the Super Bowls. I had all of them. I had the red and white ones. I had all of them. I went to the Foreman Mills in Vineland, got everything. It was that type of a thing. It was also the first sporting event I ever cried to at the end. And I don't know if I was crying because at the end of the game, obviously they lost and it was heartbreaking. But I will never forget my parents telling me, like, oh, it's time to stop watching the game. You have school tomorrow. And I don't know if I was crying because they lost or I realized, like, oh, my God, the last week of my life was pep rallies instead of school. The Eagles just freaking lost. Now I have to go to freaking school tomorrow? Like, what? So
I have to have like a normal day tomorrow.
Yes.
On a semi-related thing, this was actually when I was at Paul VI. So it was like it was the year the vet was still open. It was the year McNabb had gotten hurt. I think it was the year that Detmer and A.J. Feely had gotten them to the point to make the playoffs, and McNabb had come back. He was hurt, but he played like the first playoff game against the Falcons.
Yeah.
I think it was Michael Vick's rookie year, and it's where Dawkins laid out Vick, and
2002.
Vick thought about retiring, he said, after that hit.
2002.
But I remember it was the same night it was like a snowball dance or some shit at Paul VI. It was like my sophomore or junior year, I think. And I wasn't going to go. I'm like, I'm not going. My mom's like, well, no, why are you not going to go to this dance? I'm like, I'm not going to go. I'm watching the Eagles game. They rented like a big screen TV.
Nice.
Just for that. Every kid was dressed to the nines. I had my number 5 jersey on. And the news came. I was like Channel 6 or something. Here I am in the front like, yup. You all wear your little fancy ties.
TTP Ballin asks us, what do you guys see happening with Nick Foles after this season? It's a great question.
We've
a
been
really
answering
hard
that
question.
for like a while.
Well,
like
I mean,
3 different shows we've answered that. But it's still a good question because now I'm starting to hear more to the other side where we were mostly saying that we're going to keep him because we don't know the status of Carson Wentz and we need someone in there to make sure we have a capable starter until we know he's healthy. But with news that Wentz is ahead of schedule and he's killing his rehab and he's confident he'll be ready for week 1, I've heard more people say that he could be traded so we get more draft capital, which is something we need. And a team like I'm going to throw out maybe the Broncos could use a quarterback.
Plenty of the
There's plenty of
Cardinals. The
Cardinals,
Browns.
yes. So
the list goes
I mean, in
on.
fairness,
I don't know.
that's
I
what
don't know.
In fairness, though, that's what I've kind of suspected all along. Until Carson's coming back and he's gonna be 100%, Nick Foles is gonna be on this team.
Yeah.
After that, if there's trade value, and at this point, there's definitely gonna be a trade value for him.
As long as he doesn't
as long as he doesn't tank it in the Super
which
Bowl.
I don't at this point I don't think he will.
anticipate. Right.
Yeah.
But barring an unforeseen circumstance, there's going to be value. And even
yeah.
if he does, there's still a value that he has. Ryan's like,
Yeah, knock on every single piece of wood in this.
But there is a value. Like, he's built definitely enough of value for himself that there's going to be a team that's interested. Now,
Absolutely.
that'll depend on how well he does in this game. Might depend on how much return you get. But there's never been a doubt in my mind that once Carson's healthy, if there's an opportunity for him to go start somewhere, especially what he's done for this team, they'll give him that opportunity.
Right.
I think most teams, though, it's a weird thing because I don't know how to let's say like a draft pick. Like, I don't know what market value you put on him because I don't think most teams see him as a long-term solution. I think most teams see him as a bridge.
Yeah.
And that's fine, and that's a role that needs to be filled by a lot of teams. The Cardinals are a prime example.
Yeah.
And not only that, let's say, I mean, I know none of us want this to happen, but let's say John DeFilippo gets the offensive coordinator job with the Cardinals. What better quarterback to lead the Cardinals than Nick Foles, who already knows the offense?
I'm so glad you said that because I definitely think he's the perfect I don't want to say perfect quarterback, but he's a great choice of a quarterback for a team that's going to draft someone this year in this draft because the whole stigma for this draft is, there's a lot of quarterbacks with promise, with projection, but no one that screams NFL ready. Guys like Darnold, for example,
Josh Allen,
Rosen, obviously the kid from Oklahoma as well. Like, they have promise.
But
Baker
wasn't
Mayfield.
Wasn't that the narrative for this?
I got to be honest. So
quarterbacks?
the quarterbacks, it's always like a narrative with the
That's
quarterback.
they're always saying that.
It's gonna. So listen, this is like my biggest thing with like evaluating draft and all that, and like people. There's context to everything. Nothing happens in a vacuum.
Context,
If the kid is in the right situation with the right coaches, he might succeed. He's more likely to succeed Like it's like look at Jared Goff's rookie year compared to Carson Wentz's rookie year.
Yeah.
Jared Goff was with Jeff Fisher, who almost destroyed him, and meanwhile Carson Wentz actually developed under a real coach and a real offense. So I mean it's a perfect. It's got to be a perfect storm of drafting the right player and having the right coaches surrounding him.
We threw out that question this past week, and we just threw out, like, is Nick Foles a franchise quarterback?
No.
And we got a lot of answers, and I said, on his own, no, I don't believe so. As great as he was last week, he's not a franchise quarterback anywhere he goes. Now, he can play similar to one under a great situation. Like
Exactly.
I agree with that.
In this situation he's in, it's a great situation. I don't want to say he's a system quarterback, but he's a situational quarterback, for example. He needs to have a defense that can take pressure off of him. Obviously, running backs, wide receivers, and that's easier said than done because not every team – actually, very few teams are built like this Eagles team to where they are so deep and they have so much variety.
See, now Denver would be a team that would make a ton of sense because to me,
Exactly.
at number 5, they're going to be able to draft. I don't know if they're going to, but they can draft one of the top 3 quarterbacks. Almost guaranteed one of those 3 guys is going to fall into their lap. So you draft that guy, you acquire Nick Foles, you let that kid develop.
Exactly.
I mean, and you have, like you said, Ryan, you have the defense. They have Denver. A team like Denver has a defense that compete right now, and with a quarterback like Nick Foles, they can compete.
They have the running backs, too. I mean, their running backs are
C.J.
solid.
Anderson
Exactly.
was very good this year.
And two, like, we've heard for weeks now, like, Kirk Cousins to
The
Denver.
weapons,
Kirk
too, for
Cousins
God's
to
sakes.
Denver.
Oh,
And to me, like, would I be shocked if that happens? No, but not by any means. But with a guy like Kirk Cousins, a team like the Broncos or any team, they're going to have to overpay to get him. With
for
Nick
sure.
Foles, and it would not work for Denver given they need to re-sign half of their defensive players.
Yeah. Well, there's a big rumor that they might look to unload Talib. That's a big rumor.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
would free up a lot of money.
So
Not sure if it's the right move, but it would free up a lot of money.
with a guy like Nick Foles and going out and potentially drafting someone, a quarterback, you don't have to overpay for a guy like Nick Foles.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't,
Yeah.
especially in a trade.
Like
and
if I'm looking at it right now, if you gun to my head what I think his value is, I'd say like at a premium, a 3rd-round pick you're going to get.
Yeah.
At most. At most, because he's on the final year of his deal.
He's not making a ton of
And-
money either. Though,
No, he's not making a
so.
ton of money, but it's still his final year
No.
of his deal. So you're not. I mean, I would
You're
say
not-
3rd-round pick. I would say that's my
Yeah.
that's my
But
market on.
but
Go
but
for
the
it.
thing with Foles too is you could also look at teams that need to have a quarterback and draft a quarterback. I was with you with the bridge, but also if there's a team out there that right now is close enough that maybe they're close up on the cap and they need a serviceable starting quarterback, more than serviceable starting quarterback, a need for that, his cap hit's not bad. So that would
No,
fit
for a
into
starting
a
quarterback,
team,
not at all.
For a team who's looking for a cost-efficient quarterback who's above average, it makes sense for them.
So the thing I just reacted towards, so TTB Ballin, who's having, he even said, I'm having a lot of fun with these hypothetical questions.
Yeah.
He said, so with that all being said about the quarterback needing a great fit with a coach to be a great player, who would you rather have, Carson or Doug Peterson?
Carson.
Still Carson.
Wentz.
I agree.
That's
As much
harder.
as I think Doug
Yeah.
has been phenomenal for Carson, I'd rather have Carson.
And Renee says, I love Doug, and I have no doubt Doug will keep the foot on the pedal.
Yeah.
Hell
so.
yeah.
Absolutely, Renee.
That's right.
And then the other thing, Jimmy Chonga says, if we are fortunate enough to have a 2-possession, and he puts in parentheses, 9+ point game, 9+ point lead late in the game, I'll lose my freaking mind if I sense Doug Peterson starting to play not to lose. Go for the jugular all game. And I don't think that's an
Hell
issue.
yeah.
I
No,
think
don't
that's a
Doug-
non-issue.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't not only not shown signs of doing that, he's done the exact opposite,
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. He's gone for it.
And
It's awesome.
Ralphie D's over here saying Kirk stinks. Ralph, you're chiming in on the wrong show. We love Kirk Cousins on this show.
I don't know about
I
love.
don't
Love
say
No,
love,
I love Kirk
but
Cousins
I've
on this
I've
show.
flipped the script.
I have come around.
There
come
is
around
love
That's
on
the best way to
there.
play
There
it
is
for me.
love for Kirk Cousins on this show.
Oh, hell. Frank just texted me. This could be a breaking news thing. So Frank Vespi just texted me saying Alex Smith traded.
What?
No, you're kidding me.
No, that can't happen.
No,
right?
it can't happen.
Then Frank Vespi is fake news, and I'm not afraid to say it. Listen.
Damn you, Frank.
Alex Smith
It's true.
traded.
Holy crap, it's
Wait,
true.
what? Right now? How is that?
That's
They can do that?
they
Hey,
can
Crow.
do that.
It's true. It's damn true.
I'm going to assume that's
All
a
right, well,
wrestling
they're going to
thing.
have to get the facts on that.
It's
That's-
happening.
Get the
Do your
numbers.
digging.
Literally, as we're talking about quarterbacks moving, That's key because
Wait, what?
Alex Smith to the Redskins.
Redskins?
wow.
What?
What the?
As we're talking about Kirk Cousins,
Yo, I'm fine with that as an Eagles fan. I am fine with Alex Smith because
It involves picks and a player.
what in the world?
wow.
Yo, you know what this means? Patrick Mahomes time, bitches! Holy crap,
Oh, yeah,
this is gonna be
I
so entertaining.
I knew that was coming. It's great.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes time is here. And I'm not gonna say. Okay, it's
Ralph just jumped in.
entertaining.
Kirk is gone.
Patrick Mahomes is an entertaining quarterback to watch.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see that. Oh man.
We're turning this show into a party, guys.
Well, it is a party. It's a Super Bowl party. You
I
kidding
can't
me?
believe that.
That is
wait,
crazy.
I am
What are the
so
terms?
confused by this.
Wait. So is Kirk Cousins?
So that means he's
still-
gone.
He's
a free
gone.
agent.
He's gonna
He'll
be
gone.
done. He's
If
gonna
they
be
Okay,
gone
I'm just
somewhere.
making sure that he wasn't traded to the Chiefs. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a
No,
one
no,
for
no,
them.
no.
I don't even get it.
It's 2018, man. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
fair.
What did
game.
they-
Like
yeah.
this is the
How
type of
did
stuff
they
that would.
trade?
All right, so we'll get the facts on that, Ryan.
So
you
they
got that, did you
downgraded
get that
with a
list for
trade.
us?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did. Speaking of,
It's not in writing. It's they agreed.
Sorry,
to-
guys. It's
they
Super
agreed
Bowl
to a
week.
trade.
We're gonna have some fun this week.
Yeah.
Ryan got us a list. While one of you guys or both of you guys are pulling the
Go
facts.
ahead, Paulie can
This
do it.
is everything, and this was awesome. They read it on last night on Sports Hound still. Of everything that was not in existence the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
yes, and I will say the same thing I said last
Telling
night
you
to
guys,
the
there's
people
things
tonight.
that are going to drop your jaw on this list.
It is a long list, so bear with me, but you're going to be very interested in this. So the following are things that did not exist when the Eagles and Patriots played in the 2005 Super Bowl. The following are the iPhone,
Okay.
Instagram,
Yeah. I know.
YouTube,
Yeah. I remember.
YouTube
Snapchat.
kind of surprised me.
I think it came out 2008.
Not long after.
Really, that late?
I think it was
Not
the
long
same year
after.
as
Yeah, Chrome, we're
World
old,
Series.
dude.
We are
Yeah.
old.
Face it, man.
We're
Jesus.
old.
Snapchat,
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Twitter,
Obviously.
Yeah.
the iPad.
Funny thing with Twitter, though, it's been
Obviously.
around a lot longer than I realized it's been around.
What?
Yeah, because it didn't really become a thing for a while.
It's kind of like when
No.
Facebook was
yeah,
colleges only.
it's a-
Yeah.
People are like,
I
"Oh
remember-
man, this Facebook thing." I'm like, "Man, I've been a
Facebook
part of
was
it forever."
college.
I
only
was,
when
I
we were
was
in college.
really late. To the
Ryan
party
doesn't
on
even know.
Facebook.
Ryan was like, "I was in
I
elementary
watched the
school then."
movie. I'm all caught up. I
Love
watched that in elementary school too. That's probably when it came out. You know what I mean?
Ah, man. God,
Stop.
the oldness I'm feeling right now.
No, the scary thing is, I watched
Oh.
that movie freshman year of high school. Like that's a thing. That's
Oh,
factual.
So,
God.
but I just want to. So, going back to this trade real quick.
Yeah.
How stupid are the Redskins? Because, like,
I'm
sorry.
telling you. I'm
'Cause,
telling
dude,
you. I'm
no,
so happy.
Because here's what it is.
Yeah, but that's
So
gotta
Smith
tell you
is entering the
something.
final year of his deal, right?
Yeah.
His cap hit is 20.6.
That's why there's a player thrown
and
in
the
there.
Chiefs are going to save 17 million.
Yeah.
This was a brilliant move by the Chiefs.
What did
and
they?
a terrible
what
move
did
by
they
the
gi-
Redskins.
What did they give up?
There's no.
Guys, that's why we're
no,
having a dance party right now.
So technically, the deal isn't official. It cannot be official.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
obviously.
saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Until
saying.
the new
It's
league year.
agreement. It's an
So
agreement.
that's way in advance. Like the league year starts in like March. Like we got a long way to go.
Man, not only do we have this amazing week for the Eagles, but the party starts early for the off season
Ha, Redskins.
because the Redskins just downgraded.
That's what I said. I'm so happy to see Alex
watch,
Smith
though.
in the
Like,
Redskins.
You watch.
He'll like
Alex Smith's
flourish
gonna have the
under them
greatest
or
year of his
something.
life.
Plot twist next year. You know, it's gonna be like, oh God. You know, people are gonna be like, oh, we didn't forget about when you guys were doing the party.
But
you
that
know
is
what I mean?
but that is huge though because like
That's crazy.
we were saying we were just talking about guys like Kirk Cousins. Where could Nick Foles end up? That's one
Kirk
team that's now
Cousins.
there's a certainty now that Kirk Cousins is not going to be there. That's another job. That's bad for the Eagles though because that's another job. Like I mean, you have a choice. You want Kirk Cousins over Foles. Let's be honest. Kirk Cousins could be a franchise quarterback. That's going to be
Yeah, but
now
there's
you
still,
got to wait
there's still
until that
job.
market
I mean,
falls.
there's still plenty of jobs out there. Like I said, though, like a big
But
one
Den-
again. The
But
Cardinals.
we're
are a
talking
big
about
one.
a
Denver's
perfect
big
place.
One.
Denver's a big opportunity.
Jacksonville. I said
Oh,
that's
well.
my
Jacksonville's
my
sticking
lobby
with
train for Kirk,
I just
Kirk
saw-
Cousins
sticking
at
with-
Jacksonville would make so much
I
sense.
just
to me.
just
I'm
saw a
sorry.
report that said that they're in on Borders still though. They're keeping.
Yeah,
I
Bortles.
think that would
Yeah.
be stupid.
He's going to
It
the
is
Browns,
stupid
guys.
though. I
He's going to the Browns,
agree.
I'm
It's a
telling
bad move.
Yeah,
Bortles.
telling you.
Kirk
No.
Cousins.
you. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is going
That
to go
would
to
be
the Browns.
interesting.
I'm telling you.
With Todd Haley.
And they're going to draft Saquon, and then they're going to be better than the freaking Bengals and the Ravens.
As
I'm telling
long
you,
as
they're going to have 8 wins next
No,
year. I'm
As
hey.
telling
long
you.
as Saquon doesn't
That's
go to
not
the
that
Giants,
crazy.
I'm
That's
happy.
not that crazy. It
No.
really isn't.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
They have a solid offensive line. They've built the defense pretty well. It's not a crazy thought to think that getting a legit quarterback and a generational talent like Saquon Barkley can make them better.
And it's funny. I'll just throw this out there as well. I expected this offseason, maybe on a show like this, to be breaking the news that someone in the NFC East, a certain quarterback, was going to be traded. It wasn't Kirk Cousins, though, so that means there's going to be two, in my opinion. Because a certain guy by the name of Eli, I'm pretty sure over the coming months we're going to get a similar news-breaking thing.
We'll see.
I wouldn't be
talking about
shocked. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked because I feel like right now, like, of course, Gettleman's going to say, "Yeah, I want to ride with Eli," because what the hell else is he going to say? You're not going to be like, "Oh no, we totally want to draft a quarterback and just trade Eli." Like, you're not going to say that.
Arizona.
Yeah, would make a lot
Just
of sense.
telling
Josh Allen.
So we're gonna round it back to the Super Bowl.
I was
here.
going to say, shall I resume?
Sorry,
Yeah,
but it was
No,
totally
no,
worth,
yeah.
totally
No,
worth getting
dude,
into.
yeah.
Resume. You still have more on the list, or is that it?
Oh,
You went
dude, I'm
through
not
that
even
list.
halfway through.
Oh, run the list.
It's
down.
right.
Yeah,
right
run the list. Go ahead. Go ahead.
BuzzFeed,
Well,
Spotify, Uber, the Alexa, not Alexa Bliss, but the Alexa.
Or
Oh, I
Alexa
just got
Bliss.
an Echo Dot. My sister got me one for my birthday.
Am I the only one that's
awesome?
Am I the only one that's like scared to I'm scared
no.
as hell of the Alexa.
My girlfriend is terrified of it. She unplugs it when I'm not in the room. I swear to God, she's scared of it.
The
I'm
first
like, you're fine. Nothing's happening.
the first time we came back after Christmas break, Tom had it right here in the studio. I literally said to him, like, can you get that thing out of here? Like, I don't want it looking at me. You know what I mean?
Listen, you tell it to play music, and it plays music. That's that's it. It's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It also sings the
Listen,
the Eagles fight
Are you
song.
doing something you shouldn't be doing? Well, then, you know what?
No, I just don't want a freaking robot that talks. I already have the Siri. Airbnb, Bitcoin, Fitbit, Lyft, Waze, WhatsApp, hashtags. Literally, hashtags weren't a thing.
Yeah, sure.
That's another thing that blew my mind.
They were
See,
still
these
they
don't
were still a
surprise
pound or
me.
a number sign.
That's because
These don't surprise me.
YouTube
Yeah.
surprised me.
The App Store, Pinterest. This will surprise you. Google Maps.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me.
That doesn't surprise me. It's just
Yo,
No,
remember-
you're
remember
thinking of the
MapQuest?
app. You're not talking. We're talking about Google Maps because on like a computer.
yeah.
Yeah, like literally
know.
Google
That
Maps.
surprised me too.
I don't know. I remember.
Remember MapQuest?
MapQuest. was the
MapQuest.
thing.
Oh God, MapQuest.
It was MapQuest.
So,
Like, did I go?
MapQuest,
Did
you
I go
straight
half a
out
mile?
printed out
You-
directions.
Yeah, you
but-
printed
and the best part was they were never right. They were always wrong.
They always threw an extra right-hand turn
Oh
in
my
there that
God,
just
it's like
didn't
what-
need to be there.
Or it would tell you have to go here, and then you would get there, and the turn's not there, and you're like, "Where the hell is this thing taking me?" Oh, that was fun.
And it didn't
I remember.
recalculate.
Recalculated.
5 more.
Okay.
Hulu, Kindle, Siri, Dropbox, and finally, and most importantly, Angry Birds. That is our list.
I just feel old. I feel old.
Yeah, is that what
The
you're?
two that
Thanks, Ryan. If that was your goal,
Nice.
you made everyone
No
else
problem.
on this show feel old as hell.
the two that got me was I was surprised YouTube wasn't around, and I was surprised by
Google
YouTube
Maps.
might be
Google
the
Maps.
the most surprising one. If you're going to, I think, because you always feel like with how big YouTube is now.
Yeah, and how we all use it, we all get lost
Yeah.
in the rabbit hole.
You feel like it is.
EJ Bacon says 37. I lost this score. 37-10 birds in a blowout.
Woo!
I love the enthusiasm.
That's some.
That would be a nice stress-free.
Ed Wynn also says Eagles in a blowout.
Could you imagine? I mean, no, I don't even want to say it. I'm not going to say it out loud.
So, Charles, as you see, there's a lot of YouTube people
Yeah,
that are.
they're going. I can't even keep up.
Do you want to go? We can team up on this one. You want to go
Yeah.
one by one?
Yeah, I'm trying to backtrack to see if there's anything I missed that was important. But
So they're flipping out about Kirk Cousins to. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Alex Smith to Washington. They're
Sure.
flipping out in here at the moment.
It's a huge deal.
You know, like Alexander
is.
Ferrucci says, "Yeah, that sucks for Alex Smith."
it
that
does.
really does.
It
suck for
really
Alex
does
Smith.
suck for Alex Smith. Yeah.
SJM86 says Washington is pathetic. He also
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch.
I am
Patrick
very
Mahomes.
excited about Patrick
I'm
Mahomes.
really excited to watch Patrick Mahomes.
Jimmy Chongas is down to Denver and Cleveland for Kirk Cousins. I'm serious. I'm riding with Cleveland all the way
I
with
think
that.
I think Jacksonville. If Jacksonville's plan is really to go with Blake Bortles, I think that's a mistake. I would be all in on Kirk Cousins.
I agree.
That could change now that there's clarity
Absolutely.
that Cousins
That's
is going to
true,
be
too.
available, though.
Well, here's the thing: they're definitely gonna. I mean, they'd be foolish not to at least kick the tires. Like they're good. They have to look into it because there's no way anyone can sit here and tell me that Kirk Cousins wouldn't be a huge upgrade for
yeah.
Blake Bortles.
Jacob Bloss said, "Yeah, I'm happy Kirk is out of our division." I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. SJM86 says Jay Gruden is a solid coach too.
He is. No, Jay Gruden is a solid coach. He's solid, good for quarterbacks. Obviously, he's developed Cousins. So I mean,
Renee wants to know if I'm watching iRobot too much because I'm afraid of the Alexa.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
And yeah, just a lot of people talking about Johnny Manziel. Oh, talking about Baker Mayfield is
Mayfield, yeah.
No,
is Manziel.
I hate that comparison.
Which, by the way,
It's
the
not a
same.
fail.
It's
Yeah,
not. It's
just-
not.
just so we're clear on
comparison.
this, and any controversy, Johnny Manziel can't even play in the XFL because he has a record.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're
If
right.
you want to call it a hot take, I'm going to tell you right now that is not going to stand.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
That is-
That's not really a hot take, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That is a.
No,
That's
I
not a hot
agree with
take.
you,
that, is
but
that is like a medium rare take. That is not. Yeah.
it's like a lukewarm, like
Yeah.
That take is
Yeah.
as
Stick
cold
your toe in
as
the
it is
water.
Not
here.
my best
Take.
hot take. Did you guys want to give predictions?
Frank says Alexa
Yeah.
played Tupac.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Frank
apparently that's
Gatsby.
like a Alexa thing. All right, so I just got the breaking news thing. We beat ESPN because ESPN just let me know about
Yes.
the trade.
Um,
So we beat ESPN. Wonderful.
Everyone beats ESPN.
So let's get in real quick. I know we're going to be winding down, but I know we wanted to break down at least. We could do the bulk of it and talk about some matchups, but Eagles offense versus Patriots defense. How we feeling about that?
I have a little concern.
Let's
The
say
thing
that.
is-
Let's do it that. What's your level of concern as far as the matchup?
Here's what I'm confident in: our O line, because one, they don't have a pass rush. The way they generate their pass rush is by schemes, and what you need to look out for, and I'm sure they see this on tape, is what the Patriots have been doing lately, especially is after the linemen put their head down and are ready to snap the ball, the Patriots do a very late shift in their defense, where they will shift into maybe like a 3 front or a bare front, or go heavy and switch from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and they'll do that to mess up the running game, to get in the way of the running scheme that you're drawing up on that play. Because if you're going from a lineman that's playing maybe a 1 technique or a 3 technique, and then you shift over to a bare front where they're playing 0 and then a 3 technique with those 3 linemen, you can't run up the middle anymore. So that's something that the Eagles are going to have to be cognizant of, and I'm sure they will be. But if you can kind of like get around that, there's really they can't generate pass rush with. They have Trey Flowers, who's a good physical defensive end. He's probably their best defensive end they have. But I
He's more
wouldn't
of a
say
3-4
yeah. So
holding up block
Exactly.
at the end, and yeah.
So I don't. There's no person. There's like they have a collection of guys who are solid, good in their system, know how to run that system. Their front seven generates the rush and their coverages, their linebacking coverages through communication and disguising things. And like I said earlier, on the back end, they do man to man most of the time. They will man up. Malcolm Butler is going to be either on. You would think Torrey Smith because Malcolm
I
Butler
actually
plays
would think Alshon.
Malcolm
or not
Butler.
Alshon. Excuse me.
That's what I
Aguilar.
was saying, Aguilar, because
Yeah.
he
I would think
he
Aguilar.
usually mans up against the speed guy, the
Yeah.
smaller speed guy. But if they feel like Aguilar is going to be a really big mismatch against Rowe, they might switch Butler to Aguilar and have Rowe on
Probably their
Torrey
biggest.
Smith.
That's probably their biggest. Honestly, it's funny. It's like ironic that's probably the guy the Eagles will probably have to exploit is Rowe. Because either if he's on Aguilar or he's on Torrey Smith, the receiver should have the advantage in either case.
Because Torrey Smith can definitely run by it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then obviously Gilmore is going to be matched up against Alshon.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely.
So and they're going to be, like I said, they're going to be playing man. It's going to be about being them 1-on-1. And are the Patriots going to be able to be disciplined enough and be able to figure out how to get a good run defense going while still having someone to drop back in coverage, a linebacker to drop back in coverage to defend against the RPO? Because if Foles is going to keep it, he's going to read that linebacker to come up. Foles is going to have to read it, and he's going to see if there's a linebacker dropping or not, obviously. So the key for the Patriots are going to be generating enough rush and contain up front while still having someone drop back to defend the RPO. I don't know if they can do that.
So who are
We
you
shall
giving
see.
the advantage to?
The Eagles on the offenses against Eagles offense against Patriots defense,
Okay.
advantage Eagles.
I would also say advantage Eagles, and one of the big things you mentioned would be offensive line. There's no reason why this offensive line should not get push against the Patriots front. They're just flat out better football players. The Eagles should win in the trenches. The only thing that scares me is that what the Jaguars really like to do with Blake Bortles, which the Eagles like to do with Nick Foles, is they also loved the run-pass option, and they loved the idea of sometimes Bortles actually keeping it. So they actually even had more optionality with that play. But the Patriots took it away. They do a really good job with that. It's going to be this crazy chess match because RPOs, like Nick Foles, has to make that decision based on what the defense is showing him.
Yeah.
And like you said, Charles, they're really good at disguising. So it's going to be a matter of is New England going to disguise better, or is Nick Foles going to pick up what's going on better? So it's going to be this crazy chess match between Doug and Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia. And it's going to be from a pure football fan standpoint, it's going to be a ton of fun.
One thing to counter that is I think what Doug Peterson's offensive scheme does better than Jacksonville's
everything,
scheme.
But
Yeah, everything. But one thing why I don't know if the Patriots are going to be able to figure it out for the whole game consistently is because, and I saw this in the Falcons game, that their run schemes that they run out of, especially in the RPOs, they don't run because traditionally you run a run scheme, especially out of shotgun, and you have a play side and a backside where the motion if you have the lineman doing a zone blocking scheme or motioning out to one side or the other, or if you have a power gap scheme, you have a lineman pulling to one side. They did a lot of things where they blocked both sides. They had two linemen run block one way, and then the other three linemen block the other way, so the defense doesn't know which side is the play side.
right.
So if you have that confusion against the Patriots, those linebackers don't know which side to attack or which side to defend. So I think that's a thing that's going to be very interesting. How the Patriots are going to see that?
Right.
How are the Patriots going to counteract that?
There's going to be a lot of adjustments made on both
a lot
sides.
of adjustments.
Well, I think, and you guys have pretty much said it all in regards to the line. So just my little throw into, and I talked about it earlier, I think the running game is going to be so crucial for us. And because the line's going to be able to get that push and probably and open up holes and opportunities for guys like Ajayi and Blunt to pick up yardage and Clement on third down opportunities, that's going to be very important for us to open up the passing game and to control the clock, because everything is about how you control the clock and control the pace of the game.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I also believe that I lost my train of thought for a second. And with that too, again, if there is a weakness, we talked about it, Vaitai, Ajayi, and the running backs being able to pick up that second layer is going to be a huge, huge, huge factor for giving Nick Foles time if he needs to give the time for the wide receivers to develop and open up plays. So
Definitely.
To your point, too, I would say about the idea of the running game, Bill Belichick, Matt Patricia, they're going to want to stack the box because they're going to want to take Jay Ajayi. That's going to be one of the things they want to do. You're going to have to take a couple shots.
right.
Even if
And they will.
If Torrey Smith just runs by Eric Rowe and gets open, even if you don't hit it, it still puts it in their heads.
That
So
it could happen.
You're
Right.
going to have to take some shots just to soften things up
I have
a little
confidence
bit.
that they will. They will.
I believe.
they're
I agree.
going to take
I
the
think
shots.
Doug will
So
because he did it against Minnesota. So why would he do it now?
He's done it almost all season.
Yeah.
So let's move on now. Eagles defense versus Patriots offense. Where you at?
I kind of talked about it earlier about in terms of Jenkins, importance of Jenkins, because we played predominantly cover 1, cover 3. We've talked about all the time, and so our corners are on an island. They have to be disciplined. The Patriots are going to be very patient. They're going to throw those short routes, the hitch routes,
Cook's
the
got a
covers.
ton of hitch routes
Yes.
against
Yes.
Jaguars.
And that was that's what concerns me, is because we've been burned by that a lot this season.
There's going to be
Those
at least a
little
couple
dinking and
top,
ducking and
and there's going to be at least a couple slogos that are thrown in
Yes.
there,
Right.
and they got to stay disciplined.
They have to stay
yeah,
disciplined.
and that's gonna So that's probably my main concern with everything.
Right.
But we shall see.
The big guy.
Yeah, the big guy. Thomas Kennedy Arnone McMahon is in the building, folks. Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
But that's I think I can't stress enough our linebackers, especially Bradham, against those running backs. That when we're on defense, that is my biggest concern. is those running backs. Because I'm telling you, Deion Lewis scares me. Deion Lewis, even though
He's a guy I'm worried that
he
if we get
is
burned by
legit.
anybody on their offense, I'm not even as concerned about Gronk. I mean, you're always concerned about
Oh,
him.
you're always concerned about Gronk.
But it's always, but I'm saying it's always
Yeah.
the guys. Like when we talk about it, how many times in Super Bowls, it's always the guys you don't expect to be the ones to step up.
Yeah.
And not that you would say that I don't expect Deion Lewis because he's a very good player, but he's not the guy that you would think. I think with this matchup,
He's not the guy you
would be
game
the
plan
guy-
for.
Right. He's not the guy that you think you would worry about burning you necessarily, but has the capability. That's who
Yeah.
I'm concerned with.
See,
Exactly.
I'm worried about Gronk because Malcolm Jenkins has done he's had a great season. He's been a great player.
But it's Gronk.
But man, Gronk is so
Good.
goddamn
But-
good,
but for
and he's
me-
so big, and he's so. My thing is size. Malcolm could definitely run with him. I'm not worried about that. But man, that's size. He's just so big, and
Well,
he's
that's
so
why it's
strong.
important to tackle. We can't
Yeah,
miss
you
tackle.
Oh,
have to tackle.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, another thing they might do is something that we saw on the touchdown pass for Kyle Rudolph against the Vikings. The Patriots are going to motion out their running backs like James White, Rex Burkhead. They're going to motion them out wide to get because our defense, our corners don't travel.
Right.
They stay where they are.
Right.
They're going to motion them out so that they can be matched up on a corner and then leave a mismatch against a linebacker or a safety with someone like Cooks.
Cooks lined
So
up.
they're
On a
they're
Malcolm
gonna
Jenkins or Patrick Robinson.
they're
or
going to
whatever.
exploit that. So it's going to be very important. Again, like I said earlier, Malcolm Jenkins is going to be very. If he's covering that slot, he's got to have the game of his life.
Here's something too. Even to me, if Ellerby is healthy, I'm playing dime all game. And
Dime,
I'm playing,
yes.
and I'm
You're
using
gonna
Malcolm
play a dime-
Jenkins as my linebacker.
Jenkins as his linebacker.
Because
Corey Graham,
and
your
I'm
guy
using-
Corey Graham back there. Yeah, you're gonna
I'm not
play.
trusting. I'm not trusting Ellerby. Ellerby actually didn't play poorly, but against this offense that I know will not be able to run the
He
ball
should-
against
yeah,
the Eagles,
You shouldn't
I'm
have to.
going
yeah.
dime.
You want to be. You're more worried, obviously, about the pass.
Yep.
Than you are about the
Way
run.
more worried. Yes.
Special teams.
Ooh,
You want to know what
that's
It's
tough.
very
actually.
interesting. I didn't
I think
know
it's
this.
I think it's pretty even.
It is pretty
it's
even.
pretty
It is
even.
pretty even.
I would call that
The only
one.
thing I would say is obviously Gostkowski has kicked in much bigger situations than
Right.
Elliott and been in bigger games.
Right, but I have a lot of confidence in
Yeah,
Elliott.
But yeah, so do I.
Did you guys know that they went to the same college, and Gostkowski was kind of Elliott's mentor or hero, and Gostkowski was the one that set the records previously, and then left, and then Elliott came in
And
and
his
broke
record.
all the records.
That's
Nice.
cool. That's a nice little
It's-
subplot to
Yep.
the Super Bowl.
There was actually, this is a little bit off topic, but this is one fun nugget that I wanted to kind of bring up in this parallel here. So, Doug Pederson, a fairly green coach, has to go up against the greatest, the greatest, if not the second greatest, whatever, coach in NFL history, and has to beat him in a Super Bowl. Vince Lombardi lost one
To
championship.
the Eagles. Yeah, I was going to mention that.
To the Eagles.
It's the only
So
play-
it's just one of those
that's the
things,
only-
like-
that's not just that's the only playoff loss
Yeah,
Vince Lombardi had of his entire career.
It's
was against the Philadelphia
insane.
Eagles.
that is insane to even think about. So this is Doug Peterson has to take down the Giant.
Yeah.
It's
may
been
have
done
not-
before.
I've said it
and
before.
You can do it.
It may not have been called Super Bowl, but we've won championships. We're the only team to ever beat the guy who the freaking
Packers,
trophy
yeah.
is named after.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Yes.
So I think it's just one of those.
Another little tidbit.
Give
it's
us
just
some credit,
Another tidbit that
Yeah.
Giants are Giants, but they can be taken down.
Yes.
So one of the interesting points that Charles had talked about wanting to bring up, bigger advantage to having players from the other team previously played for the other team. So with the Eagles, we have Chris Long, we have LeGarrette Blount. On the other side, we have Patrick Chung, Eric Rowe, Deion Lewis. Who's the other one?
Danny Amendola.
Danny
Danny
Amendola.
Amendola, who was practice squad. But
Yeah, and it was so long ago.
Very long ago.
I give or take him. I don't know if I necessarily
Yeah.
count him, but even so, he's been on the
Mhm.
team. And Charles brought up a point that he keeps his Eagles jersey as a motivator. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh, he does.
who do you see? So I feel like knowing the caliber players of Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount, having just been on that team, a championship team a year ago, and the career that these guys have had and seeing the impact as leaders that they've had on this team, easily to me, it's having Chris Long and having
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think so too. I think it's close because I think Patrick Chung is, for some reason, in New England, he's a different type of player. He gets that system. They ask a lot out of Patrick Chung that a lot of teams don't ask out of their.
Well, the good point you made up
Yeah.
too is he's
Yeah.
very good against tight ends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he made that point.
Or you made that. Right.
It's okay.
One of you guys. I don't know.
None of this
but-
matters.
Even knowing that,
We were having a party in here earlier.
and
I can't
being-
remember.
yeah. and even being like, I am a big fan of Dion Lewis. I think Dion Lewis is a very underrated running back. Even with that being said, LeGarrette Blount and Chris Long, their impact, just those two compared to the other four, I think it's going to be. I give the slight advantage. I would bet that those two have a bigger impact on the game than the other four, but that's just me.
Is there some type of small advantage too from having a few ex-Bills on the defense that got to play the Patriots twice a year?
Oh, that's a good point.
I didn't even think of that, but
That's
that's an
a
excellent
good
point. Yeah,
question. Yes.
absolutely.
Having Nigel Bradham, having Ronald Darby, having Corey Graham,
Mm-hmm.
guys that have seen how they operate, they get to play, had to scout them twice a year, had to watch tape on them twice a year. Just something. I mean, who knows? I don't know if that's I'm just saying. I'm
It's a
just putting
fair
it out
point.
there.
I know. I absolutely think that there's an advantage to that.
Yeah.
100. And Jay Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi too. Yeah,
Jay
there you go.
So with all of that being said, who do you guys have winning? What's your score, and who's your player of the game?
So I've said this before. My score is probably going to change because I feel differently day by day, but I've stuck with this one so far. I say 27-24 Eagles.
Ah, you son of a bitch.
I'm changing. I had my player. Is that yours? I had my player of the game as Foles. But since he's probably it's a quarterback thing a lot of time, I'm going to take him out. If it's not Foles, to me it's Jay Ajayi. He is the key to this team putting points on the board and having opportunities to put points on the board. And I think he's going to break out a big run.
Paulie?
All right, so I'm going to say same. I actually had the same score in mine. 27-24 Eagles. As I said on the show 2 weeks ago, I will never doubt this coach. I will never doubt this team ever again after what happened against the Falcons. I was wrong. I've eaten crow on it, and that's where I'm at with that.
You've given your pens. You're
Yeah.
good. You can.
As far as player of the game, it's a little bit outside the box, but I'm going to say Malcolm Jenkins
Yes.
because I'm going to say this. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to get a pick at some point,
Okay.
and there's going to be a blitz in which he is going to sack Tom Brady.
I love it.
Love it.
And I
Love
think
it,
it's going to
love
be
it.
they're going to be two big plays.
I love it.
Charles?
So because I'm a very symbolic kind of person, I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to say 24-21.
I knew he was.
Ah, look at you.
which
knew he
is
was
the
gonna do
inverse
that.
of what the Patriots did. And for MVP, when they played us, Deion Branch was the Super Bowl MVP. I'm saying Nelson Aguilar. Is the
Yo,
MVP.
how awesome
How
would that be?
but
though?
also because it would be
Seriously.
such
If
an
it worked
awesome
out that
story.
way,
it
it
would
would
be
be
such
great.
an awesome story.
Because
if
you're
Aguilar.
talking about
Aguilar
we all
or
know,
Foles,
yeah.
you can't really.
Well,
or
in-
LeGarrette Blount or Chris Long, but whatever.
in fairness
so many
to
players.
go with that whole, this is like a movie plot thing. The way this is all
You
played
might as
out
well,
on
I
Nick
mean-
Foles. If it was like a reverse score and it was a wide receiver similar to before, and not just that, the guy who almost got ran out
And
of
Malcolm
town.
Jenkins picks off a pass off of Gronk's hands, the seal of the deal.
Come on.
What?
Oh, it would be crazy.
Write up the movie script. Call Disney right now. Someone call Disney right now.
So you guys know I like adding storylines to my score
Sure.
predictions. So I'm going to go with, at the end of the game, the Patriots are going to be leading. And the Eagles are going to come down the field. And they're going to be down 24-23. And a certain guy, you may have heard of him, Jake Elliott.
Who?
Jake Elliott, yeah. He's going to kick the winning field goal, and it's going to be all of the energy, all of the nerves, all of the stress,
How
and all
far?
of Philadelphia.
I
It's going to
actually
be
just
an
how far-
highest.
I just got
How
stressed
far-
and nervous
how
just
far-
thinking
Oh,
about it.
when I talk about it, I'm like, oh God, like
I
if
got
this
all
happened-
tight.
How far of a field goal is it going to be, Ryan?
69 yards.
I'll
In
give
a
you
dome!
one. No, I'll give you one. I'll give you one.
Nice.
43.
Okay, 43's fair.
Okay.
It's reasonable. Yeah.
No,
And he's-
it's wait.
I'm having conniptions
last
just
score
thinking
was
I
what?
about
know,
it.
right? My chest got
The
all
last
tight.
the last
Thinking
Super Bowl,
about
the
it.
score was what? 24-21, right?
Yeah.
No, it's the field goal is going to be for 45 yards, the combined score of the last Super Bowl.
So the Eagles are going to win by a score of 26-24.
Oh,
I
God,
said
I'm gonna-
earlier,
I'm going to
Charles.
shit
Yeah,
myself
I'll
if that
throw up.
Oh,
happens.
I won't make it. I won't make it if that's the case.
Oh, God.
I won't be able to enjoy the win because I'll be on the ground like I usually am after close wins. So, like I said earlier, Charles, I'm glad you brought up the fact, that Alshon's going to be double covered Zach Ertz, and it's going to take someone outside the box, someone that maybe we haven't seen a lot from. maybe a guy we saw a lot from for the first time in a while last week. A certain play that I'll never forget in my entire life. It's a guy by the name of Torrey Smith. And the reason why I bring him up, it's because he is one of those players that has experience. He's been in the big moment before.
I like it.
And I really think, the fact that he dropped that ball at the beginning of the game looked like it was all, his confidence was crushed, and he ended up, having that big flea flicker catch, and he had a decent game, other than that. Obviously, everyone kind of did in that game. I really think that's going to hold true for him. I think that's going to be huge, and he's going to need to come up huge, to Charles's point from earlier. I have him getting 2 touchdowns in this game.
Ooh, I like it.
So he is going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. He's going to be the player of the game. So the Eagles are going to win 26-24, player of the game, Torrey Smith.
So that means they totally have to pick up his option next year, right? If he wins Super Bowl MVP.
Well, did Deion Branch come back for the year after he won? Because he went to the Seahawks at some point.
I think they traded him to the Seahawks.
Yeah, they traded to the Seahawks.
I don't think it was that offseason. It might have been the next offseason.
So,
okay, all right.
So a couple big in-house things to get out there. Obviously, big week here on A2D. So make sure you guys are continuing to tune in. Tomorrow we got the Fix.
Yes,
We got
sir.
AM and the PM.
Yes, sir.
Thursday's kind of our day off from the Eagles, but I'm sure we're probably gonna end up throwing some Eagles stuff in there.
Chat's going to be going
Yeah,
crazy.
we got lazy booking and hockey happy hour. But then this weekend, Saturday, guys, Saturday, we are having our A2D roundtable, Super Bowl roundtable.
It's going to be awesome.
We're going to be bringing a bunch of people from different shows, different personalities. You're going to see different conversations, probably arguments with Charles and other people.
You know it. You want the little guy getting loud.
It's going to be
Watch.
it's going to be a 2, 3,
One.
however many hours we get to.
Exactly. It's going to start at 1 o'clock, and we're going to go as long as the chat wants us
Let's
to.
go all
it's going
day.
to be everyone here from A2D.
Yeah.
It's going to be people that
Anyone
you usually don't see on the same couch. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
Yes.
crazy.
anyone that's available, probably going to be commercial free. We're just going to tag out
It's
if
going to be a
that's
party.
what
That's
it's
what it's going to be.
I think
Yeah.
the breaks are going to be really short, Tom said.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, guys. So definitely tune in for that. That starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday, and then Sunday we're getting you guys ready for the Super Bowl with Agree to Disagree. It's gonna be a hell of a week on the studio here on the station, guys. So definitely tune in. Want to say thank you.
One more. Can
Yeah,
I get
Get one more in, then we're gonna.
I just want to shout them out because TTP Ballin does say these ATD radio shows get me so hyped, and I think some Renee Ballard responded to it saying, "Me too, TT Ballin. These are my guys."
Yeah.
Love you
Thanks
guys.
for the love, guys. Everyone, honestly, everyone on Facebook and YouTube, you guys are seriously awesome. I know we don't get a chance to always get to all of your comments, but I'm telling you, we do read them, and we appreciate the love.
We do our damnedest. But yeah, so thank you guys for participating this week. Thank you to Stream Smart. Thank you to Scanzano Sports. Thank you to Gibson Mayer LLC. Guys, it's Super Bowl week. It's Super Bowl week.
Yes.
Let's give everybody an Eagles chant, huh?
Let's do it.
Ready?
E-A-G-L-E-S,
Eagles! Let's get this W, guys.
Give it to 36.
Let's get this W.
Woo!